Worm has been detected at a cattle ranch in southern Texas, and Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins says her agency is ready to mitigate.
I was on the phone with about 50 of our cattle ranchers in Texas late last night. And I said, we're getting the treatments down to you. We've got the veterinarians, we're surging inspectors, et cetera.
The fly affects livestock, and while the USDA says the beef supply is safe, experts warn this could drive prices higher. Jet fuel prices higher as a result of the war in Iran. American Airlines says it's going to suspend some routes during August and September. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told reporters he's honored and humbled that President Trump plans to nominate him to the position permanently, but that nomination path is uncertain. Several Republicans on Capitol Hill have voiced unease about Blanche's prior role as the president's personal attorney. This is ABC News. Economists thought first-time jobless claims would hold steady last week, but statistics show they increased by 10,000 up to 225,000. It wasn't the height or the speed that bugged out a family in Ohio who took an amusement park ride.
If you know Northeast Ohio along Lake Erie, you are well aware of the mayflies. The little critters known as midges inundate the region in the spring with swarms that peak when it gets 60 degrees or warmer. But Tyler Fellinger and his daughter Catherine didn't think it would be a problem when they boarded the Top Thrill 2 roller coaster at Cedar Point Amusement Park. They were wrong. Both slammed straight into a swarm of midges.
I looked over her and she had it all over her, but she was cracking up at me because it was just, my face was just, it looked like a fly swatter.
They say they'd ride the coaster again, but they wouldn't sit in the first car. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
City officials in Honolulu say the city's popular bike share system now has fewer than half the original amount of bikes remaining, blaming vandalism and normal wear and tear. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson grilled on public safety last night, and North Seattle neighbors still want answers. We're going to tell you more about that coming up, but first, we're going to check in on a long-term closure on Highway 18 westbound. It is still closed because of an early morning fatality collision and more issues in that area. Northbound Auburn Way North is closed at South 277th Street because of a commercial vehicle rollover with an injury collision. So that's kind of in that similar area where there's been that closure. You watch it. There are diversions getting off of 18 and just pack your... Oh, nope, Sully's going to kill me if I say pack your patience, but I guess I said it, so oops. All our other travel times are pretty normal. Federal Way to Seattle is just 26 minutes. That is right around speed limit. I'm seeing green almost everywhere over the map, except right around the Ship Canal Bridge. There's just a blip on the radar slowing until you get through that, and then you're smooth sailing all the way up to Everett. This report is brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. Aurora Avenue neighbors in North Seattle wish Mayor Katie Wilson were available to hear their concerns over rampant drug dealing, sex trafficking, and gunfire. We'll hear more from KIRO News Radio, Corwin Hake.
Aurora Avenue neighbors voiced their grievances at a public meeting Wednesday night, including this father who told attendees last month bullets just missed his baby's crib.
That's wildly unacceptable.
He and others said Mayor Wilson's absence signals a lack of leadership, but Wilson did address those concerns last night at a separate event across town.
We are trying to take immediate action to improve conditions in the neighborhood because it's unacceptable, right? You shouldn't have just gunshots around your house, like into your house.
Speaking at a City Club event, Wilson said extra police emphasis patrols are now in place near Aurora, while the city studies more long-term solutions. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
And the city of Seattle is paying $2.6 million to settle claims from 4 Seattle police officers. The women alleged sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and a hostile work environment. Their attorney, Sumir Singla, spoke with John Curley in March.
One of our clients, it got so bad that she had to be escorted out of the building because one of the people that she's accusing of harassing her was in the same building as her, and the department wasn't helping her out. So she had to find her colleagues to escort her out of the building so she wouldn't run into this guy.
The former police chief denied the claims when the suit was filed. We have reached out for a response. There's been a small drop in gas prices for now.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed for the 94th day. One Exxon executive warns crude oil could spike to $160 a barrel. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells Seattle's Morning News it's hard to predict.
A lot of people, trying to hit a dartboard from miles away. I mean, he could be right. There's a growing sense of alarm.
The national average of a gallon of regular gas is down about 19 cents over the past week to $4.20 a gallon. Washington's average dropped about 6 cents to $5.66. DeHaan warns if crude hits $1.60, Washington drivers could be paying as much as $6.50 a gallon. Manda Factor, KIRO News Radio.
And gas thieves sidelined a critical rescue tool. Homeward Pet Adoption Center in Woodinville says thieves cut the fuel tank on its transport van. Executive Director Stuart Early tells KIRO 7 TV they can't move animals for urgent care until the van is fixed. Now we're going to check your weather forecast, and it's going to be a pretty mild day, high in the mid to high 60s tomorrow. The high will be around 60, so quite a bit of a change from earlier this week, and then a chance of rain and high in the mid-50s by Saturday. It's 60 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome, everyone, to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. It's Thursday. Jake Skorheim today is making his world a better place, being a better member of his community. He is volunteering today. And I love that our company, Bonneville Broadcasting, KIRO News Radio, gives us the opportunity to volunteer our time. That's a wonderful, open-minded, loving company policy. Sitting next to me, Greg Tomlin.
Good to see you, my brother.
You too, my friend. I love getting a chance to work with you.
Likewise. Always a joy and a privilege to be here on KIRO Radio, especially with you, Spike.
All right, let's take the gloves off.
Let's go.
You know what you're wrong about?
Here we go. Yeah, let's waste no time.
We've got a lot of stuff to get to today. We've got local politics. We've got just a ton of great stuff coming up. But I want to start with the iceberg in the horizon.
Is this a Titanic reference? What are we doing here?
World Cup 2026 is coming to Seattle. Now, I ask you, Greg, are you optimistic about World Cup? Did you buy into the pre-World Cup hype presented by the World Cup Organization Committee of Seattle, which projected nearly $1 billion in city revenue and a 750,000 visitor projection? None of which seems to be panning out.
The most I've bought into the hype on a personal level is I might catch a match, and I think that's the correct nomenclature right there, a match on the pitch at some point on my television. But I will not venture within probably 10 miles of downtown while all the proceedings are underway.
Interesting. Jake and I have had this conversation maybe earlier this week, maybe last week. Do you ever have FOMO, fear of missing out? Will you look back one day at your life and say the World Cup, the largest cultural experience on the planet every 4 years, it is the biggest party in the world every 4 years. Will you look back at some point in your life and goes, it came to my hometown. It was in my city. 6 different opportunities for me to take part in World Cup play. And maybe you don't want to spend the $300 to $1,200 to $1,500 it takes to go actually sit inside Seattle Stadium to be a part of the experience. There are local watch parties all over the place for those folks who can't afford. There's going to be a visitor vibe in Seattle. I think it's akin to what happens when the All-Star game comes to Seattle.
Yeah.
When the city is lucky enough to host a conference championship football game or a baseball playoff game. It's those type of vibes. And we get 6 different instances to enjoy. Are you going to one day look back and say, I should have got off my couch?
It depends on a person's respective level of interest in the event itself. So I have very limited interest in soccer, world soccer. I always love when America's competing against other countries for whatever reason. I'll watch the Olympics every 2 years that they're on TV. But this one, I have limited interest. Now, when it came to the Mariners playoff run last year, my life hack is I always try to secure tickets for what I think is going to be the biggest game. And
you're a game 6 or 7 shopper?
I'm a game 6 or 7 shopper because that's the one really that most people are going to talk about, unless some crazy memorable moment happens in game 2.
You're willing to roll the dice that there never is a game 6.
Well, so I did that last year. I bought, I think it might have been like game 7 of the World Series. I bought tickets ahead of time. I had like early access. I spent an ungodly amount on it. I was refunded later because the Mariners didn't make the World Series. But I bought that memorable game against Detroit where Polanco had the walk-off single. It might have been an extra inning. One of the most memorable experiences ever.
It's a lifetime memory.
My dad got us tickets in 1995 in the Mariners refused to lose season against the Yankees. We were there for Edgar's double on the third baseline. My brother caught a foul ball. I still remember it vividly 31 years later. And so me as a dad now of 3, I'm thinking, what are those moments that I can put in my kid's memory bank forever and for all time? And so I accomplished that to a T during the Mariners season last year. They were at the Detroit game, and they were at the Eugenio Suarez Grand Slam game. I missed that one, but I had enough to pay for my family to go, and I'm like, boom, dad mission accomplished when it comes to sports memories.
So a couple issues there, and I love them.
You got some issues with that.
No. A couple of issues of issues was the wrong word.
Yeah.
A couple elements of your story that really rang true with me. Experiences. There's no price you can put on an experience, and you have to take that chance and roll the dice that you'll build a memory with your family or for yourself with your friends that's going to last a lifetime.
Depending on your means, yes.
Right. Looking back. And you also mentioned a very realistic element of why I think World Cup, at least in Seattle, maybe nationwide, hasn't been the expected 6 Super Bowls coming to town moment.
It's not America's game.
It's not America's game. The overestimations, the projections, I don't want to say overestimations, the projections of, 750,000 visitors to Seattle. And we're one of the smaller cities with regard to the host cities in America. Miami is going to be a crazy World Cup town because of the Hispanic population.
Sure.
I think the same thing is true can be said about California, L.A., San Francisco even, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. All these cities are going to have massive World Cup moments. But as a country, America's not South America. We're not Europe. We don't have the rabid fan bases, the ride or die mentality of our national team. I think if America's U.S. men's team was a competitor for the World Cup, it would be different. The ladies, for example, the women's World Cup teams have won multiple World Cups. And when the U.S. women won for the first time World Cup soccer, it changed how America views the sport. I think that's
fair to say.
If America's World Cup soccer team was on the caliber of the best in the world, America would feel differently. We love a winner, and we move on quickly when there isn't one. But all that being said, I think that's why
I don't think it would ever overtake football.
No.
If we were that successful,
we would only have to look that way once every 4 years. And that's the beauty of it.
And the reality is, it's the world's game because it really is accessible to everyone.
Absolutely,
right? You need a ball and
absolutely
a makeshift crossbar if you got one.
I've told this story many times, but it bears repeating. We had the opportunity to travel with World Vision to see the undeveloped and impoverished corners of the world. World Vision does great work. Look them up; they're well worth your time and your generosity. But we would bring soccer balls. I always lugged along an army duffel bag with 24 deflated soccer balls and 24 hand pumps.
Nice call,
little hand pumps. And you go to a small village in Zambia or on the Amazon River or Bangladesh.
It's the universal language.
Where, we walked to a village where kids were playing with a ball made of disposable garbage bags that they tied into a ball, and we drop out this brand new beautiful soccer ball, pump it up, and hand it to the village elder, and that changes lives. I mean, it really does. You're right. It's the most accessible game on the planet. That's why it's popular. When you say you're going to sit from I loved your honesty and your authenticity. I'm going to watch from my couch, and a lot of folks are probably going to make the same decision. Is the condition of Seattle, is the environment of downtown Seattle a factor in your decision?
No. That's worth considering for sure.
I ask because the mayor's made a real genuine effort to rapidly address the chronic homelessness experience and situation in Seattle.
Especially in Pioneer Square.
In Pioneer Square, there's news today they're going to fast track a lot of people, getting them sheltered, if they can, all of those on the streets in Pioneer Square, because that's going to be the focal point of this month.
Well, and I think all of us who have lived in the Pacific Northwest for any amount of time have come to expect this kind of thing. We should be getting whiplash from this, whether it's the MLB All-Star Game, Seahawks playoff games, or any other highly publicized, highly attended event.
Hey, First Lady comes to town, we clean up.
There's always an effort to manage optics, okay?
Well, yeah.
Pushing a problem to the side for a time in order to keep up appearances. What's missing, in my humble opinion, is a continuation of not addressing the fundamental underlying problems here, which is mental health, drug addiction, and personal agency, which often leads to bad choices and destructive behavior here. I think we're operating on two false premises here in addressing the homeless issue. And again, this is the 30,000-foot view amidst an anecdotal story about cleaning up Pioneer Square ahead of tens of thousands of people attending the World Cup here. One false premise is that it is in a person's best interest to continue to allow them to live on the street unencumbered and freely able to do drugs, deal drugs, panhandle, because that's their own personal pursuit of happiness, and we shouldn't infringe upon that. And the other false premise is that the homeless population, by and large, wants rehabilitation and positive outcomes, and that they're able to attain them if only given the proper circumstances, environment, and so on and so forth.
And enough hugs.
And enough hugs that'll do the trick, right?
I'm with you on both of these.
The underlying cause, according to a famous book written in 1993 called A Nation in Denial, The Truth About Homelessness, underlying cause is personal lives out of control. And the city of Seattle still has not figured out how to address that in any tangible way that's going to make a real difference. And in fact, homelessness is still at record highs, and it's an absolute shame that we spend $1 billion a year trying to fix it, but it hasn't worked. And it's not the definition of insanity, but trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is a pretty stupid thing to do.
I do, but I think the homeless
Where
experience...
am I wrong?
No, you're not. I think the homeless experience in Seattle is, first off, a moving target. I know we've often talked about how much money's been spent on addressing homelessness in Seattle, and I know this was a World Cup topic, but the homeless question is part of the World Cup equation, whether or not it's a benefit or a good idea or a good experience for people to come to Seattle and enjoy World Cup in Seattle. I think the homeless the homeless situation is a moving target. And I say that because we've dumped billions of dollars, literally billions of dollars, and we've got more homeless in the city of Seattle than when we started. I think there's a lot of factors at play there, though. I think there's the economic situation in Seattle, the affordability situation
It's multifaceted, no question.
I think the invasion of a more dangerous and potent drug problem like fentanyl I think it's a different beast than the meth problem or the liquor problem or the weed problem or whatever problem addiction was having on our city in previous iterations. I think
zombified a whole population.
Fentanyl's a whole different monster to try to tackle. So I think all those come into play when you're talking about homelessness. But I think you're right about the compassion first, the housing first model of Seattle's approach to homelessness is flawed. We look at down in San Francisco, the mayor of San Francisco has taken a get clean or go to jail, but you're not going to be on the streets. We're not going to use compassion first. And I know I forget I can't find the word. People won't get clean when they want to get clean, when they're ready to get clean. You can't force someone in the rehabilitation until they're ready.
I believe that.
But when you force them into a cell, they find ready a lot sooner than they're allowed to be in a tent or worse under a bridge in a storefront in Seattle.
Well, I often hear people say we can't arrest our way out of this problem, but the prospect of being arrested is a pretty strong deterrent for bad behavior. And I think back to when we did have more of a zero tolerance policy towards camping in public spaces, drug use, petty crime, panhandling. We didn't have record highs in homelessness, right? And so, look, I don't think getting people into barrack-style housing shelters is wrong necessarily, but it needs to be paired with common sense requirements, guidelines, stipulations for types of behavior you then expect once you're in this housing unit.
Not just the option of wraparound services like the mayor likes to offer when these tiny home villages or wherever they may be.
That's
all the additional beds the mayor is projecting and shooting for, targeting for 1,000 by the end of the year. They were hoping for 500 by World Cup, but that's not just over a week away. They're talking about 300 by the end of the summer. All those are optimistic numbers, but if it's wraparound services are available and not required, I think the evidence is in that the problem is just going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
And in the meantime, whenever a big event rolls into town, we'll push it aside and then let it come back even stronger than it was before.
But I think there's benefit to that as well. We always
tell me why.
We always clean up when companies coming over, and that's a euphemism I love to use, right?
Sure.
But when you're talking about visitors to Seattle, whether it's the 750,000 visitors the World Cup committee, the organized committee in Seattle projected, or if it's a more realistic number, maybe 500,000 visitors, 600,000 visitors to the city, not the 750. I still think those numbers are going to happen for Seattle. I think last minute long distance travelers have decided not to come to America for a lot of different reasons to see games. The tickets in Mexico and Canada are so much more in demand.
There's geopolitical implications.
There are, because we're talking about, as you mentioned, a global audience and fan base for the world's game. And if you can go see a game in Mexico or Canada and not have to deal with who knows what kind of immigration issues you're going to have in Donald Trump's America, I mean, it's one factor. You know, they overestimated America's passion for soccer. They booked out hotels requiring three-day commitments to people at exuberant prices with the expectations of crowds. Airbnbs recruited new members prior to the World Cup. They offered bonuses for folks who signed up to become host households or host buildings. We now have the 5th highest price for Airbnb rentals in all the World Cup cities in North America. That counts Mexico, Canada, and the United States. We are number 5 in Seattle. And that's partially because we have limited space. We don't have the kind of
limited
spaces,
supply, sure.
Yeah, of a New York or a Boston or San Francisco
but
even.
This is also still a very desirable place to
It is.
visit for a short time and then get out. Because you can hit some main attractions in a few days, and boy, you can be overblown or blown away by the aesthetic beauty of this region and the cool landmarks.
That's why cleaning
hit
up.
it and quit it.
That's why cleaning up matters before company comes over. This is a first date for Seattle with over 500,000 visitors.
So
to
we
the
put
city.
the makeup on.
You put the makeup
put
on.
Your
You
best
make
clothes on.
You clean up Pioneer Square. You cover up some graffiti with some grayish brown paint.
Yeah.
As we've done all over town. You move folks into shelters at a record pace.
You suck in the gut.
You suck in the gut. Man, may I squirt you to the side of the pool? I mean, you do, and it's because you're getting people to visit your city maybe for the first time and deciding, do we want to go back? Is because we're eating into tourist season with World Cup. I wrote a nice piece for I wrote a piece for My Northwest. You decide if it's nice or not. At the end of the experience, will we be glad that Seattle was a host city for World Cup?
Oh yeah.
If the numbers don't pan out, the money doesn't pan out. If there's issues, will at the end of the day it still be a net benefit for the city? Because I've heard people even ask, at the end of the day, are we going to be glad we did this? I think it's a ridiculous question, but take a look at the piece I'm writing. It'll be up on My Northwest this afternoon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I'm predicting, but anything can come true over the next course of a couple of weeks. But in the past, when we've had big events come through here, I've always looked back fondly at how the city handled it ultimately. I'm sure somebody could point out an anecdote here or there where things went awry. But I think our city, by and large, does a pretty good job. And leaves people with that happy joy feeling. Spike.
Hosting, yeah. I know you're right because it's a business deal.
You brought up the Airbnb thing,
okay.
And maybe this isn't where you wanted to go with this topic, but it jarred me for a second. I'm almost at the point where I'm done with the Airbnb or renting other people's houses. Do you think this is a fad that will eventually be relegated to the ash heap of history? But I'm starting to find hotels more appealing these days than staying at people's houses for a number of reasons.
Okay, what are the reasons? Is it the fees and the services that are tacked on?
Okay, let's start with the fees.
No,
the
I'd
cleaning
love to.
fees.
Yeah.
First of all, you get one price, and then by the time you're at checkout, it's like 30-40% more.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the cleaning person when I'm leaving an Airbnb or renting someone's
you're a
house.
responsible,
Oh my
respectful
gosh,
guy.
I'm going through each room. I'm taking off the sheets of each thing, and if I don't, I feel like I'm going to get reprimanded, and I'm still paying like a $250 cleaning fee at the end of the day. The second part is, and I can't shake this, there was a story a while back about like cameras in Airbnbs.
Oh, it's not going away.
I wouldn't say it's rampant, but
One's too many.
I wouldn't say it's 1 in 5 or 1 in 10, 1 in 50. Maybe.
One in a million's too many.
Who's the famous bank robber? Willie Horton? I don't know his name. That said, why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
If you're a voyeur, why do you have an Airbnb? Because that's where the people are. I mean, certain domains attract a certain clientele, right? So every time I go into an Airbnb, I feel like I have to sweep the house for like listening devices and anything that's plugged in. When I get there, I'm usually unplugging because in 2026, you could have any kind of spy cam and anything.
Listening to you, watching you.
And the third thing, it's just weird. We stayed at a place, and this is first world problems, okay? So don't get me wrong.
No.
That's our right to complain. First world problems on the radio.
If they don't like it, they can get their own radio show.
Took the family down to an Airbnb on the Oregon coast for spring break, and one of the selling points was, they have a hot tub. We never get a hot tub, so we go in the hot tub. You don't want to find a hair in the hot tub.
Oh, buddy, why do you have to go there?
As Laura takes a drink of her tea.
Yeah, that was really ill-timed.
And we're all excited to get there, and there's like multiple hairs floating around. I'm like,
Okay,
I got to get out of this.
Stop. I'm going to tell you why this. When we come back, we'll revisit this when we come back. Because
Okay.
I've got an answer. The nightmare's not going to go away, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
But when we get back, Laura's back from her experience of jury duty.
Oh,
and
yeah. You're talking about 1 in 50 odds of having a camera in your Airbnb. Those are my odds of getting picked for jury duty. Guess who got picked?
You got a hair in your hot tub. You got picked for jury duty. When we come back, Laura's going to tell us what jury duty looks like in the 2026 world. All right. It's the Jake and Spike Show with Greg Tom. We'll be right back.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM. This is a test of your emergency alert system.
There are 6 markets you can place your money in. Research suggests it's better to have exposure to all 6 markets. Don't miss a potential opportunity because you didn't strategically diversify your assets. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Request your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing in your portfolio. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
I just can't dig it.
Dig what?
My water line.
Needs replacing?
And I don't want digging in my yard.
And maybe your driveway.
Can't dig it.
Don't dig it.
But how do you?
Apollo Plumbing replaces water lines without digging up your yard.
You're Dan.
From the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Apollo Plumbing.
Our trenchless technology replaces water and sewer lines.
Without digging up my yard?
2 little holes is all it takes.
Sounds better.
Faster, too.
In my yard?
Like we were never there.
Sounds spendy.
Not so much.
Oh?
In the end, about the same as that messy digging you don't want.
How do you figure?
Think about that landscaping you love.
Yeah?
Trenchless means you won't be paying to replace it.
Or my driveway.
We run everything underground.
Trenchless?
Do them all the time.
How about...
Easy payments?
Yeah.
With approved credit. Sure thing.
When can you get started?
We are the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Love that.
Apollo Plumbing, trenchless waterline replacement.
Sewer lines, too.
Can you dig that?
That I can.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
Jason Rance here. If your water heater is getting older, leaking, or running out of hot water, CM Heating has an affordable solution. Get a new gas or electric water heater installed starting at just $44.99 a month. With CM Heating's Comfort as a Service program, you'll get lifetime repairs and maintenance at no extra charge. Parts and labor covered for life. Plus, same-day installation is available in many cases. Schedule your free estimate today at cmheating.com.
License number CMHEAHL 750LP.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
Clutter happens. Let Closets by Design save the day. For a limited time, get 40% off plus an additional 15% off and 18 months 0% financing on approved credit if paid in full. Go to closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. State Patrol troopers say a drunk man in his 20s vandalized the state capitol building in Olympia overnight. He was apparently caught when troopers heard him throwing rocks at windows on the first floor. The suspect tried to speed away in a car and then hit a patrol car driving across a wooden pedestrian bridge and even crashed before trying to run away. He was finally arrested. 13-year-old office window sets were heavily damaged, along with 2 doors. We're not sure how long it's going to take to repair those items. As visitors from around the world gather in Seattle for the World Cup, they are likely to find illegal drugs for sale. Now, the Drug Enforcement Agency is saying what fans don't know about these drugs could kill them. More from KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake.
Drug cartels increasingly cut their illicit product with fentanyl.
2 milligrams of it, which fits on the tip of a pencil, is deadly and will kill you.
Rob Saccone is special agent in charge, DEA Seattle field office. He says soccer fans risk fentanyl exposure if they buy cocaine or meth, or even if they pick up something that resembles a prescription painkiller.
Those counterfeit pills, unfortunately, look very, very much like a regular pill you might take if you have a pain or you've just had surgery, and those counterfeit pills contain fentanyl.
Saccone tells me the DEA is launching a public information campaign aimed at fans from outside the U.S. who may never even have heard of fentanyl. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
A major boost for women's health from Melinda French Gates with a $215 million pledge announced today. The funding targets maternal care, birth control access, and programs for middle-aged women, including menopause research. French Gates tells USA Today women's health has been under-prioritized and underfunded.
When we do make the right investments in women's health, then women can thrive.
Big win for a Seattle student. Lakeside senior Kamira Johnson has taken top honors in Doodle for Google. Her piece, inspired by the theme My Superpower Is, highlights hair as culture and legacy.
Black hair defies gravity and it defies logic.
Her doodle is up now on Google until 9:59 tonight. We're going to look at your traffic, and we're looking pretty good for this time of day. Pretty smooth sailing around the area. Keep in mind, westbound Highway 18 is closed because of a long-term collision investigation between I-5 and 167. Again, just the westbound lanes, but there is a diversion and a little bit of backup leading up to that. Other than that, we're pretty much a speed limit drive almost anywhere. A little bit of pressure through the S-curves and in downtown Seattle on I-5 north and south. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio. Relatively cool today in the mid-60s and even a little bit cooler tomorrow with a high of just 60 and cloudy or even rainy weather through the weekend. It's 62 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
We're back. It's the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill with Greg Tomlin. So we're talking when we left about World Cup Seattle 2026. First match in Seattle is the 15th.
Yep.
It's going to be Belgium and Egypt, and at Seattle Stadium because it can't be called Lumen. When World Cup comes down, they have all the naming rights. You mentioned Airbnb because we've got the 5th most expensive Airbnb rental prices of all World Cup host cities on the North American continent.
And I just mentioned as an aside, I'm kind of over the whole Airbnb thing.
Here's why I wish I could tell you that your fears, anxiety, paranoia are here to stay. Airbnb is here to stay. VRBOs are here to stay. I think because they offer a portion of the rental, travel, vacationing, public amenities that hotels just don't offer. when you've got a larger group or a family and you want the ability to save a little money, especially these days on cooking, eating out at restaurants, travel food can be a very prohibitive factor in budgeting. When you get an Airbnb or VRBO or whatever rental facilities you're using, whatever platform, those are worth the extra costs. And I'm with you on the additional fees. I think there's a honesty in pricing that, if I'm not mistaken, was proposed by a previous administration, but got kiboshed. An honesty in pricing where hidden fees were required to be included in the advertised price of rentals. And I'm not sure where that stands today.
Feel like, another place you go to purchase something, Ticketmaster, I feel like they've gotten better.
They've gotten better, and I'm not sure
still
if those,
pricey.
I'm not sure
but,
if those efforts to inform the public came to fruition or if they were undermined. I could be wrong. I could be just my TDS is showing, as it always is. Well, I personally love being able to put multiple families into one house as opposed to multiple hotel
sleep
rooms.
12, exactly.
Cook together. I think it creates a better experience for travel than hotel rooms. But I'm with you on the knowing what it cost me going in is such a great feeling, and the blind side of additional pricing is heartbreaking.
Well, and I always feel like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that you would have better chance at recourse if something went wrong at a hotel than at someone's Airbnb.
I've had to chase refunds from rental companies.
Like whereas if you're renting from a Hilton or something, they got deep pockets, and if something really goes wrong,
they're accountable. And when you're dealing with rental owners,
I feel like it's still a little
sites,
bit of the wild, wild west out there.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what situation you're walking into. You don't know who the last people were there, what they did to the place. I guess that's true for a hotel too, but I feel like they have more strict guidelines on expectations.
Can I tell you, we're going to talk about Laura, but we can. Can you hold on for a second?
Here.
No, because
absolutely.
I've put this horror story out of my mind, but you brought it back.
I love a good horror story.
And I'm not going to tell you the platform I was booking my vacation on because I don't want to get in any trouble. But I was booking a vacation, and I went to one of those
.com.
I'm not pointing any fingers.
Got it.
And I got to the rental first. I was picking up family members at the airport that evening. I get there, and I've got just a plethora of concerns. I've got a leaking commode in one of the bathrooms. Literally a puddle of water I'm constantly cleaning up. I've got black mold in another of the bathrooms. I've got a door handle that's fallen off. So I contact
booking.hellno.
Well, I'm not going to point any fingers, but it was a booking I regretted. Let me just say that. I get with the representative, and I understand the value and sometimes necessity of offshore call centering, and that wasn't my issue. If I'd have been dealt with professionally and honestly at that point, I'd have been fine with any accent. I called and expressed my concerns to the customer service representative
in Bangladesh,
somewhere. I'm not. Again, I've been there. I love Bangladesh. Beautiful place. Crowded, hard to find a room.
Great street food.
I get put on hold. Great street food. I get put on hold. Come back. Okay, we've canceled your stay. I'm like, whoa. I was asking for my options. I was looking for a little break on price. To be fair, I was looking for a little break on pricing. Because, look, it's my family gets here today. We're only here for 3 nights. I was canceled and forced to rebook that same option at a higher price because of the quick turn. I swear to you.
Paying a premium for the mold and toilet water.
And the toilet water and the door handle that I had to reattach twice. I was literally.
That's what I'm saying.
I was canceled.
Right.
And I guess as well, you said you wanted your options, or let me show you some other locations you can move to. I'm like, I spent a long time finding this, I'm not going to blah, 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 blah.
There's also that one door in every Airbnb that is locked permanently.
It's supposed to be.
And I've always wondered.
That's where the camera center is.
Always wondered.
The recording devices are.
Is that where
they keep extra?
Is that where the data center is? Is that where, there's a couple in there and that room is actually huge behind that door? I mean, we'd like to think it's just cleaning supplies and toilet paper, but I've always wanted to bust down that locked door in an Airbnb or a residential rental and be like, what is going on in there?
Did you see the Saturday Night Live skit about the people rented an Airbnb?
No, I bet it's classic.
And while there, it's relatively new. I think it was this last season. All the new cast members were in it. They're, three couples are, just settling into their vacation property, and there's a knock at the door. Hey, and it's the owner of the property. Make sure everything was okay, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's great. Thanks for checking. He goes, okay, guys, enjoy your stay. And he walks across the room, unlocks the door, and goes in and closes the door behind him.
100%.
Like he's going to be there, staying in that room the entirety of their stay.
It's plausible, is
really
all I'm saying.
Is. So my horrible nightmare story, I was told that I could, what we'll do is we'll book you at this new rate, this today's pricing last minute rate, which is about 35% more than my initial booking, and I'd be issued a refund. I spent 6 weeks and hours of multiple phone calls and emails and recording phone calls and sending back. You told me this on this date. Here's a file of you saying this. Never got made whole. Never.
That JW Marriott is looking more and more appealing.
Sweet, man. I know Paris is a crazy lady, but that Hilton family, they know what they're doing when it comes to staying for the night. They really, really, really do. Yeah, we're talking World Cup and we're talking a lot of other things, but Laura, let's dig into your world. Let's dig into what happened to you with jury duty. Laura's back from jury duty. I know you're not at liberty to say.
Oh, come on. Give us all the juicy details.
No. I can give you every juicy detail.
Are you sure? Not about the case itself.
Yeah. I was sworn under oath until 4:30 p.m. yesterday. So now I can tell you everything.
You're free.
I'm free.
Let's start with how could you not get out of jury duty? You work in the media.
Right.
You work in news.
You don't know all the tricks to get
You
out
have
of
to
this?
be. Well, part of the thing about jury selection is they ask you these qualifying questions.
Right. You fill out a questionnaire.
What is your world like? Do you follow the news? Are you abreast of all the happenings and comings and goings and yada, yada, yada? So
consider me abreast. I work in the news.
Yeah.
No. So you fill out a questionnaire. Honestly, it was a little bit vague. And I got picked and I showed up with 50 people at Seattle Municipal Court, and they told us right off the jump, whatever case we put you on is going to be short. This is not going to be like a months-long situation like you've probably heard about from other people, because these are mostly misdemeanor crimes.
Okay.
There were 2 trials that were going to happen, maybe. Only one of them went through. I was like the almost last person called to go to voir dire, where they quiz you, the lawyers quiz you.
They want to make sure they don't have a juror that's going to be prejudiced against their client or their efforts.
And let me tell you, that part got testy. They were asking us kind of popcorn questions around the room, and a lot of them revolved around drinking. They couldn't tell us specifics of the case, but it boiled down to, is it a crime? Is a crime still a crime if you are drunk while you commit it and you're kind of out of your mind?
Oh.
Yeah.
And where did you come? Yes. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, did they ask you specifically or just ask the room?
They asked us also if we would follow the law as it pertains to that courtroom, and then more generally if we believe in following laws, even if we disagree with them. To which I was the only one who raised my paddle, my little number, 20, and said, what about cases of civil disobedience? Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, Henry David Thoreau in the courtroom here.
Good trouble.
Well, and then I roused like 4 or 5 other people on the jury to be like, yeah, I'm not giving information to ICE. I believe in civil disobedience. And then we got far afield of the will you follow the laws of this court?
All of a sudden you
Which
heard
is what they were really asking.
saying, impeach him now. Wait, where
Hold on, what's happening?
where am I?
So they sat you. Okay, so we're going to go to break. If you don't mind, they sat you, and you can tell us about the case.
Oh, yeah. And I was the last person picked for a 7-person jury out of 25 people in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you wore your Princess Leia costume and everything.
Despite my civil disobedience moment where I kind of roused the troops.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back, Laura will tell you all about Jury Duty 2026. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Don't go anywhere.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hey, Spike O'Neill for Aegis Living. Recently, I've been telling you about the respite care options at Aegis Living facilities. My aunt had surgery. She was home the next day, but needed some extra attention, care that we couldn't give her as a family. 24/7 medical attention, all the amenities of an Aegis Living facility. Maybe you don't need the medical help, but maybe you have a caregiver in your family or who's going on vacation or just needs a break. Respite Living can be the perfect answer to your questions. Go to agesliving.com/spike and schedule a visit or talk to somebody at Aegis Living today. Look into respite care. 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever you need, they've got it for you. It's agesliving.com/spike.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Best Mortgage is proud to be the longest-running mortgage company on KIRO Radio. For 34 years, they've been giving honest advice you can trust as your VA loan and reverse mortgage experts and debt consolidation specialists, too. Just web search Best Mortgage.
Or on jury duty.
These are her stories.
I mean, what are the odds that I make it
I
onto jury duty?
I couldn't believe. So If you're just joining us, welcome back. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Greg Tomlin's in for Jake Skorheim today. Jake's doing some volunteer work. Speaking of duty, Laura was selected.
Big Spike.
You said duty.
T with a T. God, you guys, grow up. Speaking of duty, Laura was selected. Our own Laura Scott had a summons for jury duty. Now, these days, it's almost hard to get put on a jury these days.
Oh, and I'm bearing the lead because they actually pulled me before voir dire and individually questioned me in front of the attorneys and the judge about something from my questionnaire. I don't want to say what it was.
Whoa.
But everyone else who I saw got pulled individually was dismissed before voir dire even started. I turned to the girl next to me and I was like, well, I guess I made the cut.
Okay, you can't pay off that tease, though? Okay.
I know.
That's fine. I respect that you're willing to share any of this. So you get through voir dire, you're seated on this jury.
Last one to make it.
Last one, and
juror number 7.
And you said you were the only woman?
No, okay. So there was one other woman on the jury, but after the trial concluded and we went into deliberation, they pulled one of our numbers out of a cup, and that person was the alternate. So she wasn't, and it was the one other woman was the alternate.
So there's 11 angry men and 1 angry woman.
Yeah, except
there you go.
It was 6 because it was a misdemeanor.
Okay,
yeah.
So it was only 7?
Only 7 of us total, 6 in the deliberation room.
I didn't know that.
What did the judge do when you got up in the courtroom and said, I'm putting the system on trial? How did that go over?
Oh, would that I would.
But was it like an open and shut case? Or how long did deliberations last?
So, and I'll tell you everything because here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you the name of the guy or the name of the bar.
Oh,
because,
just tell us.
Well, they didn't know.
No, it's
These
fine.
people don't know that one of their jurors literally was going to have a microphone in front of her face the next day.
Should have told them that.
Right?
That got you out.
That would have got me out. So it was a criminal trespass. This guy was very, very drunk. He was trespassed from a bar. And
86th. Yep.
He came back. Yeah. Proper use of the term. Thank you, Greg. He came back a few hours later, drunker, and stood outside of the bar kind of staring at the doors. So an employee...
Longingly.
Menacing, you call that.
Menacingly, I would say.
I object.
But also...
we're inferring too much on the part...
Maybe it was based in love.
Actually, my favorite part about the witnesses was they kept... asking, did you say XYZ? Did you say, get out of here? I don't care. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And the guy was like, maybe, I don't know. And they go, would it help to refresh your recollection if you watched body cam footage of you saying that? And they go, sure. So refresh your recollection was and we can't watch the refresh your recollections because not all of that was admitted into court. So every time that happened, they had to march the whole jury of us out of the room for 5 minutes and then march us back in. And that happened probably 6 or 7 times.
So you got your cardio in too. That's great.
We were making jokes about that. The bailiff too.
And it was a 2-day experience for you, right?
2-day experience. The first day was jury selection, voir dire, and then the second day we came back, trial started right off. I mean, fully 2 witnesses on the stand, bar owner and a police officer. And then, the defendant sitting in the courtroom and they were opening statements. And I felt like I was on TV or watching court TV.
And prosecution
I
goes first is how it usually goes, right? And if I understand correctly, prosecution, then the defense gets their shot at it.
Yeah. And ultimately, so this guy ended up kind of pushing against the door, but we couldn't, beyond a reasonable doubt, say from the security footage that he had tried to force entry. He didn't touch the door. He kind of fell against the bar owner. We reviewed the tape.
He stumbled into my fist, Your Honor.
Assumes facts, not an evidence. Sorry, I'm on ChatGPT. I'm looking up terms here.
When it comes to, that's the thing. They give you all the definitions. And when it came to beyond a reasonable doubt about this man's intent to enter the bar, at no point did he leave the public sidewalk. At no point did he reach for the door handle of the pub. He wasn't an aggressive drunk from the body cam footage. He seemed kind of out of it.
A menacing glare.
Lack of foundation,
Yeah.
Close your computer. Awesome.
I got to say, just doing it for one day, I guess 2, I was like, maybe I should go to law school. Insane conclusion.
No,
absolutely
I
insane
can see how
conclusion.
that could get you interested in that.
I actually brought up, so afterwards, this is really fun. They bring all the attorneys in, both defense and prosecution, into the jury room and they say, okay, why did you come to your decision? And what could we have done better to present arguments? What would you have liked to have seen from us?
Whoa.
And I said, that glassy-eyed stare at the door, how long did it go on? And I think that proves, in some sense, his mental capacity because he was not too drunk to forget that he had been trespassed, clearly, if he's not trying to enter the bar, just, willy-nilly, I'm just going to go back in.
Yeah, he came back without the intent to go in that bar. He knew he was cognitive enough to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that said something about his mental state. And I will say, when I said that, the prosecution was like, interesting.
Interesting. And they looked at say, have you had any training? Or just like, no, I just watch a lot of SCV.
I mean, if they need a paralegal, let me know.
Oh, I love it.
It was really fun. Honestly, I was kind of geeking out with one of the other jurors, Patrick. He listens to the Brock and Salk show, so we talked a little bit about Bonneville.
And he got selected on the jury? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
We both sort of admitted to each other during lunch, we're kind of geeking out. It's cool to see the behind the scenes of this process, you know? It's an interesting experience. People complain all the time about jury duty, but I actually had a fantastic time.
I've never been selected. I sat once, but the case was actually settled. They reached an agreement, the attorneys, before we got to begin the trial.
Wow.
We were seated for the jury. But
I feel like that's unfair prejudice, Rule 403.
When we come back, we're going to turn our attention south to the city of Longview. New developments in Longview kind of give us questions about why a tragedy like this could even happen. Jake and Spike, we'll be right back.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, I understand there may be a news story coming out.
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
Hey, John, why don't you tell everybody why you started going to Longevity Medical Clinic?
No, I don't want to do that. I can tell you, I started going to Longevity Medical Clinic before I started doing these commercials, but that why I went is not important.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Okay. I'll tell you. I was a Sammamish City Council member, and whenever they had asked me to do the Pledge of Allegiance, I couldn't make it through the whole thing without crying. I know, it's so dumb. I mean, I know I'm patriotic, but what the heck? So I go into Longevity Medical Clinic, and I explained this to them, that there's something wrong with my hormones or something, and they see the testosterone and the estrogen are all out of balance. We balance all that stuff, and I can do the Pledge of Allegiance without crying. But I've also noticed that I deal with stress a lot better, don't I?
Yes, you're a lot easier to live with because you're getting more sleep, you have more energy, you're better organized, and I'm not helping you look for your car keys every morning.
Right, because now I've taken the steps to take care of my mind and body. I strongly recommend anybody get the free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, you're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps. Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo on June 6th, Lacey on June 9th, or Bellevue on June 13th. 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive?
These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
Epic parties start at Staples. Now you can grab Party City balloons, decorations, and tableware, plus matching custom invites, banners, and more right at Staples. That was easy.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says he's honored and humbled by President Trump's plan to nominate him to the position permanently. It's not clear if Blanche will have enough support from Republicans in the Senate, and ABC's Peter Haralambous has more on some pushback.
We've already seen some pushback from career prosecutors who've since left the Department of Justice. In a statement today, they opposed the nomination. They said Blanche has basically never stopped being Donald Trump's personal lawyer, and that confirming him would be a, quote, rejection of the rule of law.
President Trump today is set to announce a $700 million initiative on coal projects, including building 2 new coal plants. Ukraine's foreign minister says a letter from President Zelensky to Russia's Vladimir Putin contains a serious and meaningful proposal to end the war that would see the two leaders meet in person. And the NBA's banned 2 people from its arenas for life after one of them ran onto the court during Game 1 of the NBA Finals last night in San Antonio and took a selfie. This is ABC News. Karen Reed faced 2 trials in connection with the death of her boyfriend, a Boston police officer. She was not convicted, and she's now sued the Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton. She alleges negligence and misconduct. ABC legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer explains why the high-profile case creates a unique situation.
I don't want people to think, and as many of my clients have in the past, think, hey, I beat the case, I was found not guilty, so now I can clearly prosecute the police, because that's not always the case. But here, Karen Reed's case, I think, is a little bit more ripe for the actions that she's alleging here. This was a case where it seemed like there was a brazen cover-up.
49-year-old man due in court today in California after his arrest over the weekend at Sacramento International Airport. Prosecutors say he had an explosive device in his carry-on strong enough to damage the plane and potentially cause a loss of cabin pressure. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
An officer-involved shooting in Thurston County will give you all the details in that bizarre situation. But first, we're going to tell you about your traffic, which is doing very good at this time of day. It's usually smooth sailing, and that's the way it is. We've got green almost everywhere on the map. The one big thing to know about is Highway 18 eastbound is still closed. Westbound, there is a diversion, and there's a little bit of a backup in Auburn heading into that diversion. So keep that in mind if you have to travel through that area. This is because of a long-term fatality collision investigation, which happened earlier today. We will be updating you about that as well on mynorthwest.com and here on KIRO News Radio. Travel times, like I said, pretty average. Federal Way to Seattle, 26 minutes. Renton to Bellevue, 16 minutes. Linwood to Bellevue, 18 minutes. Linwood to Seattle, 18 minutes. This report brought to you by Carpet Liquidators. Why pay retail? Save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations. They got you covered at Carpet Liquidators.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. A Thurston County Sheriff's deputy shot a man this morning during a response to a fire. This all unfolded at a property near Yelm this morning. There have been multiple violent crimes reported there, according to the sheriff, so law enforcement responds alongside firefighters. When the deputy got there, he says a man charged him out of nowhere and pulled a gun. The deputy fired several times, hitting that man at least once. The man who was shot is expected to survive. Frustrated neighbors near Aurora Avenue North in Seattle had hoped Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson would personally respond to their concerns over rampant drug and sex trafficking. Wilson did not attend a public meeting Wednesday night, much to this neighbor's dismay.
Lack of urgency and a lack of leadership.
She was at an event across town focused on public safety and other issues and responded to them there.
We're stepping up the gun violence reduction unit in the area, and we also have emphasis patrols that SPD is doing.
Neighbors are also unhappy the city removed their makeshift roadblocks designed to deter crime on residential streets. Wilson says the roadblocks inhibit emergency access. Someone who stole gas took an even more critical resource from 6 shelter pets. Woodinville's Homeward Pet Adoption Center's transport van is now out of service after its tank was cut. Executive Director Stuart Early spoke to KIRO 7 TV.
If we were to buy a new van, obviously that's a hellishly lot more expensive deal, and then we'd have to kit it out. So we are trying to repair what we have. Without our van, we are in dire straits.
No suspects have been identified so far. Average gas prices are down 2 cents overnight in our state.
Oil started going up this week, and now it's back down, of course, which makes no sense at all because this rate remains closed. So we're on this roller coaster ride. This has got to be the world's longest roller coaster ride.
But Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says any decrease is likely to be short-lived. Inventories are very low, he says, and foreign buyers are aggressively buying up American fuel. If crude hits $160 a barrel, as some predict, Washington could see average prices soar to around $6 a gallon or more. Now we're going to check your weather forecast, and mild, a little bit cooler trending towards the end of this week. A high of 67 today, 60 tomorrow, and potential rain and a high of 55 by Saturday. It is 64 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Jake Skorheim's taking the day off. Greg Tomlin's sitting with us today. Laura's back from jury duty. We're glad to have you. She's looking at us more judgingly, though, than
you think.
Yeah,
I've sensed it from the moment go here. Yeah,
you've changed.
You just think you know it all.
I feel more open-minded. I feel a little more educated on the democratic process.
It's an important. I think it's an important part of who we are as a country.
Oh, they kept saying thank you for serving. The other thing that was really fun is every time we entered the courtroom, including when I entered alone, everybody stands up for you.
Wow.
I liked how that felt.
I will say we always kind of make it of a joke, like how do you get out of jury duty? But it is a pretty cool civic responsibility that we all have to partake in the process here. And though I've never had to do it like the last 20 years because of being in and around media and stuff, I applaud you for doing it, Laura. It's very cool.
I mean, here's the factors. 2 days of my life, not months, right?
Yes,
and,
that's it.
KIRO pays for jury duty leave.
Show
jury
me the
duty pays
money.
$25 a day,
Is that
which
the
is
25?
basically lunch downtown.
It is. Yeah, it's not even parking or lunch downtown.
No, it's not parking. I took the bus.
You know, I wasn't going to bring this up, but the truly unpleasant Mrs. O'Neill right now is sitting in a Zoom call because she also was given received a jury duty summons in the mail, and my wife filled out the 70-question questionnaire. You know, the first initial salvo is, look, I'm at home, blah, blah, blah. But so she applied for a hardship because my wife's got a broken wrist right now and is wearing a cast for the first time in her life and can't drive. We put that in the thing and went, no, you've been moved on to the second round of jury selection, and since you can't do it, you'll do it by Zoom. So they're wad-diring her today through Zoom. And this potential trial, I can't speak to the specifics of it. They anticipate it will be a month-long procedure.
A month?
A month long. They said this is expected to go from early June into early July. And Melissa's like, how are you supposed to get in downtown? Do you by bus every day? You can't drive. Of all these different factors. I told her just be yourself. Show them the same scowling face you show me on a daily basis.
See, I was myself, and I thought it would get me dismissed from voir dire, and it certainly did not.
No, well, you're a joy.
I was making jokes during voir dire.
You're pleasant. You're a breath of fresh air in a jury room.
They could sense my intelligence, is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, exactly. We're going to turn our attention south now to a much more serious topic, of course.
Well, and what happened in Longview here could be soon headed to a courtroom.
Oh, if it's not, it will only be because someone knows how much, I don't say much trouble they're in, but how responsible they are for what's taken place in Longview, and it will never get to trial. But we never know. You could probably be right about this. It was almost 10 days ago now, 10 days, that the Nippon Dinaware Packaging Company in Longview, Washington experienced the implosion of a nearly million-gallon white liquor tank. White liquor, we've all come to understand, is a solvent that's used in the processing of wood pulp into making what this particular section of the plant was producing are the kind of wood products that go into, say, milk carton type materials. Now it's different as we've gone through the original horrific understanding of just how many lives were lost and the impact on the community. Now we're starting to realize some of the other maybe more long-lasting or troubling elements of this story. For example, it's been now recently reported that the tank that is an above-ground tank was not subject to or enjoying federal or state inspections. There's a kind of what's been called a gray area of oversight with regard to this tank, because even though this chemical is, or this white liquor is so caustic, it ate through the PPE, the protection gear and equipment that the initial responders were using in trying to recover what at the time were missing and hope to be just injured employees. They had to wait for the Department of Homeland Security to provide the type of protective gear used in chemical warfare so that the cleanup crew could recover those lost in the tragedy. And this tank was not subject to inspection because it sits above ground. You know, and if a tank like this containing chemicals like this is subterranean, inspections are required because should these chemicals leach through this containment, this tank, and then get into the ground, the dirt, the groundwater, a lot of these areas impacted by this disaster affect the aquifer, the drinking water supply under the city of Longview. The fact that these regulations on this tank, the fact that there's a gray area at all about this type of a chemical, and this white liquor has been compared to, for those of us who have no understanding of what these kind of components, process components do in wood treatment, pulp treatment, it's like an incredibly strong bleach is how it was described to us. And it's not subject to inspection. A tank that holds 900,000 gallons of this. And you saw, we all saw horrifically what happens when this tank fails. There's still an investigation ongoing as to what led to the implosion or explosion of this tank, this collapse of this tank, the release of these chemicals, the lives lost, the impact on the environment that we still don't know the extent of.
Well, I've sort of put incidents like this into three categories, and maybe you would say there's more categories than that. One is a category of just a freak accident, which happens from time to time, right? The world is not perfect.
That's fair.
And something unexpected came out of nowhere, and it's a freak accident. Second category would be critical human error. And a third category, I think you could say potentially criminal negligence. You know, I think of something of like the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. It was a combination of a reactor design flaw and also human error at the same time, and then you get a horrific outcome here. So I'm sure this investigation is already underway. It's probably going to last a long time, and it's not just going to involve the site itself and gathering evidence after the cleanup and so on and so forth. But then I think from there, the investigation also turns to things like internal communications between employees and higher-ups, maintenance records, and so on and so forth to try to get to the bottom of this thing. And you'd hate to think it was a scenario here where it was sort of for lack of a better term, a slow burn into a complete and utter disaster. One failure after another.
That wasn't
it had been building.
Reports that may have been ignored.
Exactly. And sure enough, that'll come out in due time here, and we'll see how to interpret it from there.
There were two different fires when this tragedy occurred, this horrific accident occurred. And you may be right. The investigation is ongoing. And probably when we find what inspectors find, it'll be challenged by the company itself because accusations will be made and responsibility will be asserted for what led to this accident. The company will have the point to defend, and the community and the employees who've lost not just lives but livelihood, they'll have an argument to make. This company has been cited with 4 previous occurrences. They had 2 fires on site at this particular company's location.
Yeah, there's a big story in the Times 3 years ago. There was a fire that lasted several days, which at the time allegedly raised concerns that the owner had scaled back maintenance at the decades-old facility.
Well, the decades-old facility, that's a great point, because when we spoke to Jim Walsh, who's the state representative representing this district, these are his constituents, he gave us some really helpful information just on the heels of the accident that this particular process on this compound is just one of several different companies doing different procedures for wood processing down there. There's a mill, there's a pulp, there's all these different elements. This was the only portion that was closed down. And while this mill has been in service for decades and decades and decades in Longview, the company that owns this, bought it within the last half decade, 5 years, Nippon Dinaware. They're relatively new to the ownership of this property. When you look at the previous citations and complaints against the company from a work safety or environmental perspective, and the multiple fires, there's now questions about whether or not there's been a reduction in maintenance investment by this company in this particular processing section of this compound. So did that lead, that's what the investigation will tell us, did that lead to the, like you said, drip by drip, slow burn of neglect or denial of conditions being expressed by employees? You're right, there'll be emails going over, there'll be communications reviewed, there'll be processes. You're right, sometimes accidents happen. Sometimes accidents happen because of neglect.
Were preventable.
When you get blowout in your tire on the freeway, if you're running your tires with the wrong air pressure beyond their life expectancy, that blowout wasn't an accident.
Spike,
that was a preventable.
I feel like you were a messenger to speak directly to me with that analogy.
About the tire?
My tires are at the end of their lifespan right now, and I keep on getting that exclamation point on my dashboard.
Yeah.
And I keep on just filling them up, thinking it's all going to be okay. So you kind of hit it right on the nose there.
Do you have a slow leak or do you have a low thread? I'm going to shift. Don't let me shift into dad mode.
No. But
don't let me do that.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those, we'll wait and see what comes of this. Right now, as we currently stand, it's just a horrible, devastating tragedy. And does someone blame, is more responsible, or is the corporation responsible, or was it a freak accident? Time will tell. But worst case scenario here, if it does pan out that someone or something bears responsibility, you could be looking at safety violations, you can be looking at criminal negligence, or even manslaughter in a worst case scenario. I think historical precedent makes me inclined to believe at this juncture that we could just be looking at maybe civil settlements or down the line. But again, that's just all speculation at this point. It's so early on.
You saw the initial stories when the story broke of this release of this toxic chemical, this caustic chemical onto the grounds of the processing plant, and then it was reported a couple days, maybe a day later, that it had seeped into the sewers or the water runoff system of the plant, and then had. But it initially thought was it hadn't reached the Columbia River. Then we hear that it's being posted locally with hundreds of signs: avoid, pooling water, avoid drainage ditches because of this chemical. Then we see, a dozen dead fish the first day, 200 the next day, 2,000 the day after that, and we don't know how far this poisonous chemical has leached into the surrounding area, into the Columbia River. The guy I mentioned earlier at Longview, this processing plant sits on top of their aquifer, their water supply. As it is now, it's been deemed that the water supply is being tested on a regular basis, and it's been proclaimed safe, and I trust that they wouldn't make those claims if that wasn't the case. It was also reported that when this spill occurred, They used Cowlitz River, which is Longview is where the Cowlitz meets the Columbia. They use river from the Cowlitz, which is literally upstream from the processing plant, and the Columbia is basically downstream, if you will, from because Longview is on kind of that point where those two waterways intersect. They use water from the Cowlitz to flush through and dilute this chemical to reduce the danger to the community, danger to the environment, danger to the wildlife. And they literally just dilute this because this chemical has a higher pH. It had to do some looking into what pH means. It's the natural balance of alkaline in your skin. I don't really have a comprehensive chemical understanding of this, but the more you dilute this, the less harmful it becomes. But eventually, these an estimated 600,000 spilled gallons of this stuff made its way into the Columbia, into the soil, into the maybe aquifer below Longview.
Yeah, it's got me thinking, and I'm not injecting that this is what happened here in Longview, but I'm such a structure is destiny guy. I really repeat that mantra. And it's always devastating to see, again, not inferring that this is what happened here, but I think of natural disasters or catastrophic things that have happened, and when they are related to either being freak accidents, human error, or even criminal negligence. The worst is when you get all three of them at the same time, right? Yeah. But isn't one of the most frustrating things in life, Spike, when you're either a part of an organization, a community group, or even a family structure where you see things that are endemic, that are kind of either harmful to culture, and you can sort of sense the direction it's going in.
Yeah,
but there are cultural problems that are systemic and endemic that you just can't fix. And it often comes down to things like lack of open communication, accountability, properly assessing what the issue is, and then it just builds and builds and builds and over time. And then when you see that disaster actually happen, it's one of the more frustrating dynamics in life that I've witnessed as a 43-year-old, and I've seen it play out time and time again, and you just sort of feel helpless as you're just a cog in the machine watching it take that course, you know what I mean?
And you see something as devastating as this horrific accident in Longview, and we talked.
And you
want
to ask 1,000 questions.
Yeah, you talk about did the company neglect this property? Did the company ignore warning signs? All this will be covered in an investigation. Maybe not. Well, we will find out. I mean, I guarantee you, with 11 people losing their lives, and this company, facing the accountability for this, all these questions will be investigated and they will all be asked. But you mentioned the little tiny signs along the way.
Yes.
When it's a chemical as deadly as white liquor, and you've got a community that's working in this. If you're an employee at this pulp mill, this processing,
right,
and you've seen these signs, and you understand. Look, hey, man, this is a concern. You're relatively new at this. Nippon Dino Wave. I guess you're new to this. Not here with us. We've been doing this for a long, long time. We know what it takes to do it right and do it safely. This is our community. This is our heritage. Working in these facilities. And you come up to a relatively new ownership group who's on the other side of the planet, who picked this up as an investment, or I'm not sure what the dynamic is, but you see these signs ignored, and you see the fact that this tank falls in a gray area of not needing to be inspected. And I'm sure that the people who work in this environment on a day-to-day basis, not only do they see what's going on, and they see the slow drip, 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 the warning signs of potential disaster, and they let someone know. And it's not just that you're frustrated; you become outraged, heartbroken, and you won't let it go. You sink your teeth into making people accountable. If it does pan out,
right,
this was avoidable.
Well, and when you're dealing with arenas or industries that have life or death potential, that's why the structures and the systems become all that much more paramount. There are other arenas where the stakes aren't as high, and the catastrophic scenario might lead to some sort of metaphorical brokenness, or even, breaking apart of a corporation, or something fails. But when you're dealing with things like, power plants or paper mills or the medical industry and so on and so forth.
It's not about money anymore. It's about life or death. You're right.
But it's about proper procedures, accountability, about telling the truth honestly, and so on and so forth, more than any other place.
And it's often how it's about oversight, required oversight.
And regulation. Right.
My political dynamics often come into play in this show and in my life. And you can have different ideologies with regard to governments and government's role in your daily lives. And there are people of a different stripe than mine who think that regulation is a bad thing and it gets in the way of progress, gets in the way of business. We're a free commerce. We're the dynamics. We're economy driven country. Blah 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 blah. But there's a time and place for oversight. When we talk about clean water, safe medicine, safe food, safe work environments. This particular iteration, this administration of our federal government right now is stripping away oversight in so many instances with regard to employee protections, with regard to processing requirements, safety with regard to the environment.
It's why the right and left need each other, Spike, and why over the course of my lifetime I've been driven a little more oriented towards the center because there has to be an appropriate balance that takes it all into account.
That's the only way the system works.
It's the only, but if one side garners too much of that power and it becomes lopsided, that's when the imbalance can start to wreak havoc. And I'm speaking big picture, not even about a given certain issue.
No, it's true for all aspects of governance.
It really kind of is.
Look at Washington State with a completely Democratic control for the last few decades.
It's out of control.
And we've become what was once one of the most attractive environments for business and attracting new business, and we've fallen to one of the worst.
Right.
Because of a lack of both sides being represented at a table, communication and compromise between different viewpoints. That's what governance is. And when compromise becomes vilified, when the other side becomes the enemy, not just the opposition, when the other opposing point of views are deemed harmful or detrimental to the country, and I fall victim to it myself. I'm guilty of it as well.
The hardest part of life
never ends well.
Is there are issues that are black and white, good and evil, and we can talk about those. But wisdom really comes in deciding things where there's a case to be made on either side, and you sort of have to find that balance. I don't know if we're going to get to it in the show today, but on the docket we were going to talk about data centers and the potential of building more here in Seattle. And the truth of the matter is there are really sound, logical arguments on both sides of it. So where does that leave you at the end of the day? Is it a binary choice? Is there some kind of mushy middle that can serve everybody?
Then let's definitely get to it at 2 o'clock because I don't know if I can see the upside. I'm going to need someone with a solid viewpoint to tell me.
Yeah.
But when we come back, Greg's going to tell me how something I thought was impossible to do can be done. Because 2 casinos are closing in our town, and how do you lose money running a casino? Greg will tell me how that happens coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all 3 like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Are you looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. With new home communities from Lacey to Stanwood, ranging from the low 500s to the high 1 millions, D.R. Horton has the right home at the best value for you. Your new home is within reach, so what are you waiting for? Learn more about the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. Visit drhorton.com and schedule a tour today. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
At Madrona Financial and CPAs, we believe there are 7 steps that must be taken in preparation for a successful retirement. Retirement needs more than just a basic income plan. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
Hartley Wilcox here. Do you know where your food comes from? If it's perishable, you should read the package. Wilcox Farms eggs are locally fresh from Washington. For the freshest choice, choose Wilcox Family Farms.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. New developments today in the case involving the stabbing death of a University of Washington student. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery has the latest.
Christopher Leahy did not appear at his scheduled arraignment today. Casey McNerthney with the King County Prosecutor's Office says a judge ordered Leahy to undergo a mental health evaluation.
The defendant will be committed to Western State Hospital for 15 days of observation. The judge also ordered that a forensic evaluator with DSHS, which runs Western State, conduct the competency evaluation.
Leahy is accused in the murder of Juniper Blessing inside a laundry room at an off-campus apartment building last month. Leahy has not yet entered a plea. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Average gas prices down 2 cents overnight in our state. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says any decrease is likely to be short-lived.
Oil started going up this week, and now it's back down, of course, which makes no sense at all because the strait remains closed. So we're on this roller coaster ride. This has got to be the world's longest roller coaster ride.
Strait of Hormuz has been closed for 94 days now. Average gas prices in the greater Seattle area sitting at $5.90 a gallon for regular. To the closing bell report now. The number of unemployed Americans applying for benefits unexpectedly surged last week. ABC's Jim Ryan has those numbers.
Economists expected initial jobless filings to remain steady at around 215,000 in the week ending May 30th. Instead, the figure surged to 225,000 applications. The 4-week moving average is less prone to wild fluctuations, but even it rose last week by 6,500 from the week before.
SpaceX is detailing plans for going public next week in a move that could have Elon Musk breaking records. ABC's Alex Stone has details.
When SpaceX goes public this month, it says it plans to raise $75 billion. That would be the largest ever stock market debut and would put Elon Musk in line to become the world's first trillionaire. SpaceX saying initial public offering shares will be set at $135 apiece and that they're going to sell 555 million shares, giving SpaceX a market value of $1.8 trillion. Only 6 companies in the S&P 500 are worth more than that. Alex Stone, ABC News.
On Wall Street today, the Dow surged almost 900 points, closing at a record high 51,562. NASDAQ down 23 points, S&P 500 up 30. Now to the real-time traffic desk. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. Harborstone Credit Union has the update. Out in Poulsbo, just north of Poulsbo, traffic alternating on State Route 3 at Pioneer Way. This is the scene of a collision, and we're seeing 1 to 2 mile thick backups. In Auburn, WashDOT just reopened westbound 18 between Auburn and Federal Way following about a 12-hour closure from our early morning fatality crash. Here in Seattle, nothing new. North 5, scattered backups between the Michigan Curve and Ship Canal Bridge. South 5, just a little crowded in the U District down to I-90. Southbound 405 is crowded from Factoria to the Renton Landing. Bellevue to Renton, just under a 20-minute commute. And South 5 heading through JBLM, you've got about a 2-mile backup there through the main gate area. Earn up to $30 a month just for using your Harborstone PNW Cashback debit card. Open your free checking account online today at harborstone.com/cash. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
And now to your forecast. After some early morning light rain, we are seeing mostly cloudy skies today and drying out. Right now, 63 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Greg Tomlin sitting in with us today. So, Greg, I know you're a gambler.
Oh, I'm an investor. I would take issue with that designation.
So, okay. You invest in cards?
A math equation that eventually comes out in my favor over thousands and thousands of hands.
Okay. Oh,
it's just math. It's simple math.
Okay.
We're talking about card counting.
We're talking about card. Okay. Yeah. Ooh. Is that now?
Card counting is not gambling.
Nor is it legal, right?
It's completely legal.
I thought that's why they smashed that guy's hand in the back of the casino.
Zach Galifianakis has a famous line in that one movie where they all go to Vegas for a bachelor party. What's it?
The Hangover.
He says card counting is not illegal. It's just frowned upon, like onanism on an airplane.
Yeah.
Continue.
It's just frowned upon. Oh, boy, is it. Oh. So there's a story today, you can find it on My Northwest, 2 more Washington casinos to close, 132 jobs cut. A casino company based in Kirkland called Maverick Gaming announced Friday it's closing 2 Washington casinos, laying off 132 employees, part of a restructuring plan under their Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Layoff is the 3rd in our area. It'll take effect on July 31st, the Silver Dollar Casino in Mill Creek and the Crazy Moose Montlake Casino are these 2 that are closing down specifically. Maverick Gaming, which again is based in Kirkland, it's their 3rd announced layoff in the area. Over the last 2 months, they've lost 188 positions in CTAC, Bothell positions being employed people in the state of Washington. We know this because of the WARN Act, which requires companies that are laying off employees, cutting jobs, to let the state know for its labor statistics. Losses in CTAC, Bothell, Montlake Terrace locations. So Maverick, they filed for Chapter 11 protection in Texas, but the company it says it's based in Kirkland. They own casinos in Washington, Nevada, and Colorado.
I might even be in Maverick's little black book of card counters. I might have made it in there at some point.
Ooh.
That's where surveillance technology comes into place, and they know the width between my two eyes and my nostrils and my mouth and all that kind. And they go, "That's Greg Tomlin. He's an undesirable."
And they flag you for winning.
They flag you for winning. Well put.
Because if you want to come in there,
winners.
You want to come in there and miscount cards, they'll have you all day long, give you free food and drink.
100%.
But so it's interesting. I've often said that gambling, certain elements of gambling are all about intelligence. Poker, for one.
Risk management.
Management. Is poker your game of choice? You mind my asking? Is
No,
it blackjack?
blackjack.
Blackjack.
Yeah, with good rules. It's got to pay 3 to 2. Got to be able to split aces, double down after a split.
So casinos, it's just my impression of casinos. You got to really, really screw it up to bankrupt the casino. I thought casinos just printed money. The reason that the lights stay on in Vegas is because Vegas knows how to win, and people go there for the chance. It's hard. It's hard to make gambling your livelihood, but people do it.
Well, and you can program in basically the odds into your slot machines you want. I mean,
as far as a casino,
as far as casino owners go. But here's what I think an element to this you might be overlooking. I actually believe that casinos, not in Vegas, not in Atlantic City, not even necessarily in Reno, but a lot of localized casinos in respective states could soon be going out of business and go the way of, see if you can tell where I'm going with this, Borders Books, Blockbuster, JCPenney, Car Toys, Radio Shack. Everyone I know has immediate access to all of a casino's games in their glowing rectangle in their pocket, in their smartphone. We all have casinos in our smartphones now. And so I think just like every other industry has been upended by the e-market, I think the casino industry is too. Why go play a table game when I've got a table game in my pocket I can do from the comfort of my couch at home? Don't you think that plays into this?
I think the fact that it's available, people can...
You can gamble on anything at any time of the day from the comfort of your bed, your kitchen, your couch.
I thought that was still illegal.
It is, but it isn't. And every state has different rules on this, and there are ways like backdoors into being able to do it. But it's rampant right now. Poly market is everywhere. So people are getting their gambling fix on with their phones.
Okay, so that's a prediction market. And I wish someone could explain to me how a prediction market is different than a gambling situation.
It's all gambling.
I'm predicting whether or not this next card will be a queen. I'm not gambling. I'm predicting.
It's 100% true.
I was wrong. So part of the story that we've got against On My Northwest, it cites this. Let me see if you can straighten this out for me. This is from the folks at Maverick Gaming. This decision follows the Washington Gaming Commission's choice to shut down the centralized surveillance petition, which was intended to support Washington game rooms. So in decision considerations, the gaming board compared Washington card room casinos with 15 tables to mega casinos and that attract high volumes of traffic, impacting our operations. The lack of centralized and advanced surveillance technology, in contrast to what is available in larger establishments, has further hindered our ability to compete effectively. So they're saying they can't monitor the gaming floors of these card rooms. They can't surveil the gamers.
I was trying to make dollars and cents of this statement, and were they issuing that statement as a way of saying this is partly why we're filing for Chapter 11 right now?
Well, filing for Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is a restructure, not a fire sale, a liquidation sale of a Chapter 13 where you just surrender and give up. Chapter 11 allows you to keep your business and just kind of reorganize your business.
But were they saying something that was hurting us and our bottom line as the fact that we couldn't surveil our patrons that came in? And so is that inferring that cheating was rampant? Now, I know as a former card counter, I would get surveilled constantly, and that's one of the ways I would get 86'd from establishments, is they could tell I was counting cards. If they were really savvy, if the cameras were on me from the moment I sat down at the table, I had sessions last 5 minutes sometimes. I had other sessions last 5 hours. It depends on how good the surveillance was. But, how many card counters there are that's going to hurt a casino's bottom line, it depends on the area, of course, and the type of game that's being offered and the limits that are being offered. But I can't imagine that a mixture of card counters and thievery would play into a Chapter 11 bankruptcy because they didn't have good enough surveillance. Is that?
I don't
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you in that, but I don't understand how surveillance could be a factor as well, unless they're saying they can't trust their employees. Is surveillance an element of them making sure that their dealers aren't skimming, or working with gamers? You know, I mean, there's a lot of room for cheating.
Sure. I mean, and those chips are so small, and the smallest sleight of hand.
A wink from a dealer to the ability for a dealer to misdeal. I mean,
Sure.
I guess so. Lack of the ability to surveil, which is unique to Washington's Gaming Commission, and according to Maverick Gaming's statement, they're not pulling out of Vegas or Colorado or Nevada, I should say. They're pulling out of Washington.
I think it more in the long term is going to have to do with the casinos in your pocket.
Interesting. Yeah, brick and mortar casinos, a thing of the past.
Well, not in a few select places, but the little guys amidst the big...
No, that's fair, because the experience of going to Vegas or Atlantic City,
Exactly.
where we know is always going to be, it's always going to be. All right, when we come back, another scourge on America's landscape. Pickleball has their day in court.
Bainbridge Island has a word for you on that one.
We'll be right back after these.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news, capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
I want you folks to remember this address, aegisliving.com/spike. aegisliving.com/spike. I've been telling you for a while now about Aegis Living and the communities that they have in our area and in the Northwest. If your family is at a point in your lives where you think that long-term assisted living or memory care is in your future, I can't implore you enough. Go to Aegis Living and take a look at one of their facilities, any one of their numerous facilities in the area. aegisliving.com/spike. Book an appointment today. There really is a difference. When you get there, you'll say, this must be the place, because it is.
Take me out to big trees. Take me to see the leaves. Privacy screens and evergreens. You already know they have thousands of trees.
Big Trees for tree sales and transplants. Find Big Trees in Snohomish or BigTreeSupply.com. Are you looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. With new home communities from Lacey to Stanwood, ranging from the low 500s to the high 1 millions, D.R. Horton has the right home at the best value for you. Your new home is within reach, so what are you waiting for? Learn more about the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. Visit drhorton.com and schedule a tour today. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver. From New Nordic, search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
John Curley here. This baseball season, step up to the plate and get the price of a new heating and cooling system in just 60 seconds on your phone with no pressure. Don't wait. Call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. We're going to talk about a Northwest iconic business and a Northwest iconic state sport.
I didn't know it was our
Washington's
state sport.
official state sport, pickleball. A couple months ago, Seattle Parks and Recs announced that they were going to, about 40% of their pickleball courts in Seattle were going to be returned to tennis only. I'm not sure, they cited some noise complaints and basically the fact that pickleball had become so popular in the Northwest that those people who enjoy tennis were losing their ability to play tennis on these courts that were initially tennis courts. It's pretty easy to convert a tennis court to a dual purpose pickleball.
They did that at the park right near our house, yeah.
So anyway, it was announced that the city is rethinking their decision to take 36 dual-use courts and make them exclusively tennis only. They're going to rethink that until they have 4 more meetings. Public outcry from the pickleball community was so loud.
And vociferous.
It drowned out the tink, tink, tink of pickleball, the complaining of pickleballers. They're going to have 4 meetings between the 22nd and the 23rd and 30th of this month. 4 chances for you to weigh in if you think we can all court together. If pickleball is that important in your life, that's fine. It's not for me.
I do find it funnier that as we've gotten fatter as a society, pickleball has become a lot more popular than tennis. Have you tried to play tennis lately? Oh my gosh.
I called pickleball fat tennis a year ago.
It's 100% fat
I was
tennis.
vilified. They tried to drum me out of town.
I can speak from experience as a portly gentleman, so I could use any pejorative I want.
Fair enough. You too, my friend. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the reasons that people are drawn to pickleball because it's just less physical exertion, to be honest with you. Tennis, you're running all over the place.
True. I couldn't play tennis today. I could not. If I chased after a shot, I couldn't stop myself to recover for the next shot. I'd be the 40 love match. Easy breezy. Pickleball I could do, but the noise drives me bananas. We've got a court right behind our house. We've lived in our home for almost 20 years. We're very, very lucky. We live on a dead-end street behind a community pool club of a neighborhood that we're not members of any longer. We were non-resident members of the swim club for a while. But they've got tennis. They've got tennis courts and bocce ball courts. The tennis court has been converted to a pickleball court. Actually, they converted the basketball court to pickleball. And I tell you, we've got good windows in our house. We have soundproofing in our house. The summer parties at the pool club no longer bother our family. But those ladies get out there and they tink it up, and they never stop, and they chatter and they tink and chatter, and thank you.
Is this triggering to you?
Oh my gosh, Andrew, it's not you, it's Jacob that's a pickleballer, or are you the pickleballer?
I think it's Jacob.
It's Jacob's the pickleballer.
I play pickleball sometimes.
Yeah, there it is.
Sound ready to play.
Oh yeah.
I play pickleball sometimes.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Guy wears sweaters he buys at the Goodwill, and they're all covered in kittens and birdhouses and stuff. Of course, he plays pickleball. I think Jacob is well on his way to become America's youngest senior citizen before it's all said and done. So pickleballers unite.
We'll survive to see another day, potentially. At least 4 more meetings.
You're not about to lose 40% of your pickleball court availabilities in the city of Seattle.
Okay, as we head into the break, I have to get this Jeopardy question in because I didn't even know things like a state sport really existed.
Okay.
So then it got me thinking, what's the weirdest state sport?
Oh, I'm a winner here. I guarantee you.
If you know this, I will be amazed and astounded.
I was born in the state of Maryland.
And bow to you in reverent submission.
Is the weirdest official state sport come from my home state of Maryland?
It does come from Maryland.
It does. I'm from Baltimore.
You know everything about everything.
Of course. No. I couldn't tell you what West Virginia state sport is, but I'm pretty sure it involves kissing somebody. The official state sport of Maryland, although lately, it's funny, there has been a push to make lacrosse my favorite game. The founders game.
That's too boring.
The creators game. Jousting is the official state sport of Maryland.
Ding, 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 ding,
if
ding.
If you think that pickleball as a state sport of Washington is embarrassing, you're not wrong, but be glad you're not Maryland. And I'll tell you why jousting is the official state sport. It's not because Maryland is named after Queen Mary, and it was in a British colony, and Baltimore was a Lord Baltimore, and Lord Calvert, the Baltimore flag, is from Calvert and Baltimore. Anyway, long story short.
I want to take your class in school, whatever it is. I'm listening.
It's called Useless Information for 500, Alex.
There you go, exactly.
Maryland has a deep and rich and long history of thoroughbred horses. Horse racing. The second leg of the Triple Crown Preakness Stakes are in Baltimore. So the Baltimore horse industry is world famous. Some of the greatest racehorses of all time have come from the state of Maryland. So jousting is officially our state sport. I can remember seeing jousting tournaments. That's not till the death do you.
Yeah, how do they do that in modern terms?
There's a ring hanging from an arm.
Okay, got
it. And you literally, they ride and they race or they spear for skill and. Yeah,
I'd say one of the better depictions of jousting I've ever seen was in a recent TV series on HBO called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, yes.
Unbelievable
it's a
jousting
Game of Thrones
scene.
prequel.
Violent, visceral.
Oh, yeah.
Jousting was the real deal, and I can't believe that actually existed.
Was it A Knight's Tale? Was that the Heath Ledger movie?
Rest in peace. Great movie.
Great jousting in that.
Yes.
Game of Thrones, it has some vicious jousting scenes. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Okay, so thank you. Good luck, pickleballers. We never got to talk about Dick's newest location. Dick's is opening their 11th location up on the Tulalip Preservation by the Quilcena Casino. Congratulations, Dick's. Great local company. Love them.
Enjoy your deluxe.
You got to have. When we come back, we're going to talk about data centers in Seattle because Greg says there's an upside and I can't find it. We'll be right back after these.
I play pickleball sometimes.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hey, it's John Curley with my friend Bob Stelton. And Bob, just like me, you had a hip problem. You were recommended surgery. Why did you go see Dr. Wagner first?
I was walking around at about an 8 pain level. I couldn't walk that far before the pain would kick in, and it was impacting my workouts and just really impacting my day-to-day stuff.
So you had stem cell on your hip. How does it feel now?
I can do a lot of things I could not do prior to this procedure, and I feel like I've gotten back to being who I was prior to the injuries, which was somebody who's very active, loves being out there outside when the weather's great, being on the motorcycle, sparring in jiu-jitsu, working out. I can do all of those things now. And I've had friends that have gone to see Dr. Wagner. They had the same experience, whether they were dealing with a hip, a knee, an elbow, a shoulder. Everybody walking out of there feels like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Before you choose surgery, do what Bob and I did. Go see Dr. Mark Wagner first. drmarkwagnermd.com. drmarkwagnermd.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. President Trump announced the plan to spend $700 million on coal projects.
We will protect 14 coal plants and 42 coal mines. It's a tremendous number. And build 2 new coal plants and 1 massive new export terminal because we're exporting coal.
The new plant, slated for Alaska and West Virginia, would be the nation's first since 2013. 2 Colorado paramedics convicted of homicide after injecting Elijah McClain with ketamine in 2019 as he was pinned down by police are getting new trials. An appeals court reversed their convictions, faulting the jury instructions in the original trial. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton set to plead guilty to a charge of mishandling classified information. Source tells ABC he'll pay more than $2 million in fines. A new record high close for the Dow. It was up 1.7% or 894 points thanks to a big day for bank stocks. This is ABC News. Tyco Fryer Products manufactured a firefighting foam that contaminated the water supply in northeast Wisconsin with PFAS, forever chemicals. Wisconsin's governor and attorney general said today the companies agreed to a $10 million settlement with the state. Little Miss Muffet may be having a hard time finding whey, as in whey protein. It's in demand, and that's led to shortages and higher prices, says ABC's Jim Ryan.
The food industry has responded to the current whey protein obsession by putting the stuff in everything from Starbucks lattes to Pop-Tarts. While it's generally considered safe,
as a healthcare professional, we are always going to suggest people get their protein from whole foods instead.
For example, says ABC medical contributor Dr. Alak Patel,
lean meats, dairy products, beans.
Meanwhile, the price for whey protein concentrate has nearly doubled in 2 years.
Tonight in Raleigh, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, the Vegas Golden Knights lead the Hurricanes 1-0. Face off at 8 Eastern on ABC. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Coming up, man accused of killing a University of Washington student had a day in court. That's after Nate Connors at the real-time traffic desk.
Thanks, Aaron. Let's start you in Mill Creek, where we have a new collision, North 5 and 164th. It's blocking 2 left lanes, including the HOV, and we're backed up bumper to bumper to the interchange, and this is affecting 405 as well there in Alderwood. Up in Everett, eastbound 526, we're bumper to bumper to leaving the Boeing plant over to I-5. Out in Paulsbo, traffic still alternating on State Route 3 at Pioneer Way. This is north of Paulsbo, actually, and about 2-mile backups there approaching the scene. Here in Seattle, North 5, scattered backups from the Michigan curve to the Ship Canal Bridge. Half hour now to get through this. South 5, we're doing all right. You're going to slow at the Ship Canal Bridge down to I-90. Bellevue to Renton, just under 25 minutes. And Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeways at a half hour. We're already stop and go from State Route 18 into Sumner. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. The suspect in the murder of a University of Washington student is now headed for a mental health evaluation. Judge made that decision after Christopher Leahy declined to appear in court today. Casey McNerthney with the prosecutor's office.
At this morning's arraignment, the judge found that the defense counsel's presence was sufficient, and they raised a genuine doubt about the defendant's competency. And so what the judge did was order an evaluation.
Leahy is accused in the stabbing death of 19-year-old Juniper Blessing last month. State troopers say a drunk man in his 20s vandalized the state capitol building overnight. He was apparently caught when troopers heard him throwing rocks at windows on the first floor. Suspect was caught after trying to speed away in a car, hitting a patrol car, and then driving across a wooden pedestrian bridge and crashing before trying to run. 13 office windows were heavily damaged, along with 2 doors. Aurora Avenue neighbors continue to speak out over rampant drug dealing, sex trafficking, and gunfire in their neighborhood. More from KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake.
Aurora Avenue neighbors voiced their grievances at a public meeting Wednesday night, including this father who told attendees last month bullets just missed his baby's crib.
That's wildly unacceptable.
He and others said Mayor Wilson's absence signals a lack of leadership, but Wilson did address those concerns last night at a separate event across town.
We are trying to take immediate action to improve conditions in the neighborhood because it's unacceptable, right? You shouldn't have just gunshots around your house, like into your house.
Speaking at a City Club event, Wilson said extra police emphasis patrols are now in place near Aurora, while the city studies more long-term solutions. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Well, you've got another chance to watch Ichiro go yard at T-Mobile Park. The Hall of Famer is taking part in the Mariners' first ever Alumni Home Run Derby. This event will take place post-game August 7th after the M's played the Tampa Bay Rays. Ken Griffey Jr. will serve as commissioner of the Derby. Nelson Cruz and Jay Buhner acting as team captains. M's are still making final plans, but for now, Mike Cameron and pitcher Ryan Roland Smith will also be among those swinging for the fences alongside Ichiro. To your forecast now, we are seeing some sun breaks this afternoon, drying out after some early morning light rain. 63 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the Jake Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Greg Thomas sit in. Aaron Granillo, while you're still with us for just a moment.
Yes.
The alumni, what do you call it? Senior
Alumni Home Run Derby.
The great gray. Okay.
Yeah. Ichiro's going to be going yard at T-Mobile Park post-game, August 7th.
And Buhner's going to be a captain?
So Buhner and Nelson Cruz are both team captains.
Okay.
Griffey is serving as the commissioner.
Mike Cameron?
Mike Cameron will be participating.
Okay.
And so will pitcher and current broadcaster Ryan Roland Smith.
Swinging or throwing?
He's hitting.
He's hitting.
Ryan Healy, who's also on the broadcast now. And then the others who've been confirmed are bullpen coach Austin Nola, a local radio host, and then former. They're still trying to get some more guys to
radio
participate.
Host.
Yeah,
local guest host.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg. You beat
still
it.
Trying.
That's fun. I mean, it sounds, okay.
Back in Ichiro's heyday, in his prime, they always said he could hit probably 30 to 40 home runs if he really wanted to, if he tried.
That's a weird thing to say. Why wouldn't you want to?
Because he was an on-base guy. He was a leadoff hitter.
You're hitting for average, not for the big,
which he did.
Long ball.
But I've seen him crack a few long balls.
He's
when
still
needed.
in prime shape.
That's
by
the thing. Ichiro.
He takes care of his body.
Yeah.
In fact,
he looked better than the statue at the unveiling.
You're not wrong
he
about
held
that.
up better, too.
I was at spring training recently. I got to a little behind-the-scenes look at the practice facility, and he was still out there in the batting cages going for it.
By the way, I don't know if anyone's mentioned
Full
this.
uniform.
I don't know if this is speaking of inside baseball, you are a Edward R. Murrow Regional Edward R. Murrow Award winner for the feature that you did down at spring training this year.
No.
Wasn't the home run machine?
It was, no. That,
I apologize for
That's
that.
okay, no worries. Yeah, it was for...
It should have been award-winning.
Well, that might be submitted next year, but that's neither here nor there. This story was about Cal Raleigh's 60th home run and the boy who ended up with the ball.
That's right. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This station, by the way, cleaned up at the Murrows. That's why we do what we do. We deliver to you, the community, the kind of coverage and information you need. That's why we're here.
Are those awards going to be called the Scott Pellys pretty soon?
Oh, can we? Oh, man, you should have heard Jake and I.
That wasn't on the show rundown today.
Let's
but
do it right now.
You want to do it right now?
Well, we can talk about data centers.
Let's go data centers
immigration
and the Pelly
talk.
Awards.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, the Pellys.
The Pellys.
So there was a story that Seattle's Land Use and Sustainability Committee voted unanimously yesterday to advance the one-year moratorium on large-scale data centers in the city of Seattle. They're going to use that time to study the impact of large-scale data centers on a local community with regard to power usage, power requirements, and environmental impacts. Seattle already has 30 data centers within the city itself.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They're small.
Okay.
I mean, I got a data center on my phone. It's all a matter of size, right?
Sure.
And I am very anti-data center, and it's not just because most data centers are being built by the unbridled mega-rich, unregulated mega-rich, it seems like, with their influence over this administration and this government's policy decisions that benefit these super donors, these incredibly wealthy. Look at the dais at the inauguration for President Trump for term 2. Everybody who's anybody with billionaires behind their name was up there throwing cash at the family. Data centers, first off, AI, I think, just eliminates jobs. It's got an upside too. I get it. But you can't have just unbridled growth. You can't have unchecked growth in that arena. And I think data centers pose far too many downsides as opposed to the positive upsides. They draw from my understanding of data centers, maybe I'm wrong, they draw excessively from a city's power supply.
Yeah, that's true.
They have ecological requirements with regard to cooling and water usage and all these things.
Right.
There's a reason that data centers find themselves out in the boonies all over the place. That's why they put them out there. To have them in the city of Seattle seems like it's inviting the wolf in to the hen house. Why am I wrong?
Are they necessary for the future of technology and for continuing to secure and preserve Seattle as a technology hub? I think to some degree they are a necessity if you do it responsibly, right? I think unchecked, it could lead to certain disasters. But if we want to continue to be an attractive city for innovation in the tech space, I think to some degree data centers are entirely necessary. How you go about that? Well, maybe we should stop right there. Do you disagree on that? Are we so fundamentally apart from each other on just the initial part of the argument here? Can we go on to the next part? You don't see any utility in building more data centers at all. There's no upside.
I do. I do see utility. There's 30 already in Seattle.
AI and cloud computing.
It's
infrastructure,
going to be beneficial.
All that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And evolution is evolution. Right? I mean, typewriter manufacturers and buggy whip manufacturers, they went the way they're supposed to go as evolution dictates.
Mm-hmm.
I think AI has the same positive effect on just growth, financial, economical, or whatever, innovation is going to come, and it's going to benefit society. The prospect of medical advancements through AI is
astounding.
Worth the risk alone of AI data centers. But to your point, making sure they're not unchecked.
Yes.
Unrestricted. that can be dangerous, if not deadly.
Yes, and maybe it's some kind of balance, as I alluded to in a previous hour. Do you have some of these companies involved in helping to upgrade the grid? You talked about the strain in that regard, and so maybe there's some collaboration that can be had, perhaps, delaying this for a year. I just hope it doesn't get delayed perpetually, because
they're going to go somewhere.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I mean, they will go to another city that is more willing to welcome them with open arms. And so I don't want to get analysis paralysis here on this. But I think it is smart and wise to do a few more meetings and fully flesh out the implications of building more data centers at a rapid pace.
And what kind of requirements we should require.
Yeah, exactly.
Regulation we should require from these. What kind of commitments? Their data centers have been built that are required to supply all of their own power. There are data centers that run now on solar in portions of the country where they don't draw from the power supply at all. And they're very limitedly intrusive into the ecological impacts on communities. They and a city starving for resources that's losing its tax base because of horrible business decisions.
Well, this could bring in more tax revenue.
That's why the need is there. You're right. If we want to stay a viable economic engine and a region to draw new business, data centers may be a viable solution, or at least an element of that solution. But just not without regulation, not without some safety. That's all I'm asking for.
Yep.
Okay.
Well said. Moving on.
Scott Pelley. Jake and I got into this yesterday.
Is it Pelley or Polly?
Pelley.
Okay.
Scott Pelley. For those who don't know, and myself included, I can't speak for you when I say we get bogged down in the industry and the politics of the day. It's our job to be hopefully informed, if not at least aware of what's going on in the world. 60 Minutes, the news magazine of 53 years, almost 57 years maybe, award-winning beyond compare. No program in history has been successful or impactful as 60 Minutes.
Who was that guy that used to be on 60 Minutes that would be like, the problem with Dorito packages?
Andy Rooney. Is it just me?
I loved watching the Andy Rooney segments.
Andy Rooney was a cultural icon, but so many faces and voices of the reporting of 60 Minutes have become these cultural icons. The latest of which is Scott Pelley. He was 37 years with 60 Minutes, 51 Emmys. 60 Minutes has had a change of ownership. Because the Ellisons, father and son, they're the owner of Skydance and Paramount, a huge merger that just took place that bought CBS. They came in and they fired all the executives of CBS News. They ended CBS News' radio broadcasts for nearly 100 years of CBS broadcast radio news over. They put, is it Barry Weiss is her name? I always get it wrong. It's Barry Barry. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, Barry Weiss, yep.
She was from the New York Times?
Yeah, and then is now with the Free Press. I think she
Free Press, and she sold that off. But now she is the executive producer of CBS News. 60 Minutes fired their executive producer, brought in a new guy. 60 Minutes, you remember a couple months ago, famously pulled a story about the prison in El Salvador, an investigative piece on the Trump administration's contracting with offshore prisoning, rounding up of immigrants into the country. Resident aliens sometimes, American citizens sometimes. And there was an investigative piece that got pulled hours before it was aired due to broadcast, with Barry Weiss saying it was because it needed further investigation. The reporter who had filed the story says it was because of political pressure from the Trump administration that was about to approve the vast merger the new ownership group of the CBS News agency needed to get through. So CBS bowed to political pressure. All this leads up to CBS's 60 Minutes firing their executive producer. New producer comes in, has a staff-wide meeting in which Scott Pelley, the resident old-timer at 60 Minutes, opened a can and accused Barry Weiss of murdering 60 Minutes.
Right.
The new executive director of 60 Minutes said, Scott Pelley, we should have this conversation in private. Scott Pelley wanted none of it. He asked him, why did you fire every executive in this division? Why'd you not renew these? Why'd you fire these reporters? Scott Pelley came out yesterday and issued a statement. They were going back and forth between Barry Weiss and Scott Pelley. They're asking me to put untrue statements, provable lies into my newscast, to put biased information that's unverified into my reporting, and he refused to do so. And he called out management for why are you doing this? Who do you serve? And they fired him for it.
I have a very complex range of thoughts on this issue, from personal experience and just observation and being in the industry now for 20 some years, and at the risk of navel gazing here
sure.
to a degree, this is a story of national interest and the future of news media and politics.
And
There's broad implications.
The importance of journalism to the health of this democracy.
No one is bigger than the network. And aren't we all at some point in time making calculations about our job, Spike, where we go, are they lucky to have me or am I lucky to have them? And I think Scott Pelley is finding out the hard way that he was lucky to have them 60 Minutes and not the other way around. And the network basically told him, and it's a crude way to put it, but like, look, you're expendable. He's an anchorman, right? He's not an opinion generator, at least not on paper. He might inject some of his opinions in the pieces that he would do. But a lot of the work on these shows, a lot of the carrying of the weight of these shows is done by producers, people that originate the story.
Oh, sorry, I heard my
Laura
name.
chimed in all of a sudden. She was zoning out.
Who does the real work?
Wait, who gets
Did you
the
have to
credit?
tell her?
I've been a producer. I've been a host. I've been a guest host. I've been everything in between. But if if you're a Scott Pelley in that position, a lot of the times work is being delegated. You're bringing your own flavor of it to the table, yes. But 60 Minutes basically said, no, your opinion is not bigger than the network. Now, the reason this hits close to home is, and I'll just get down to brass tacks and personalize this for a moment, but I worked for Michael Medved I still do. I worked for him for 20 years. He had a long-standing relationship with his syndicator. Michael didn't like Donald Trump. The syndicator was basically like, well, that's not going to work for us. Bye. And so after the 25-year relationship he had with him, boom, he was let go overnight, taken off 300 stations. Now, I checked my feelings for years on this. Is that an outrage, what happened to them? Or whatever? Well, he can go out, and he has continued his own brand and his own story through his own channels now. But the syndicator, the network, none of them are obligated to have certain personalities or perspectives or people on the air if they don't want to, right? This is a free country. It's business at the end of the day. And so the reason I say my feelings are complex about this is because I'm like half outrage, half I understand it. Or I guess 33% outrage, 33% I understand it, and 33% like that's just business at the end of the day. Sorry. Have you ever seen the movie Broadcast News?
Of course.
Everybody should go watch Broadcast News in light of what has happened to Scott Pelley here. It is such a good film. I think it's from the 1980s. Stars William Hurt, Holly Hunter, is her name?
Yeah.
And Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
It just a biting, witty satire about a news media, and it centers around a vapid news anchor that thinks he's basically too cool for school. But I feel like there's some crossover there with the Scott Pelley story here, and so I don't get my, for lack of a better term, my panties in a bunch over this, because I just say the network can do what it wants to do. It's making a bet on what they think is going to be successful, and more power to them if they want to go that direction. And if there's a viable alternative, Scott Pelley, Steve Colbert, go ahead and start a podcast, get on YouTube, and I know for a fact you can make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars with your successful show on any number of mediums in this day and age. The sky is the limit if you want it to be.
See,
where am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong, but you said that this shows you that CBS Scott Pelley needed 60 Minutes more than 60 Minutes needed Scott Pelley.
Correct.
That's your assessment. And,
that's the bet they're making.
That's the bet they're making. And to Michael Medved's dismissal from his syndication network, Michael needed the network more than the network needed Michael.
That's the calculation the
syndicator made.
Right.
See, now from Scott Pelley, I can't speak to Michael's perspective. I'm not. You were so much further into the situation than I was. It seems to me in this situation, Scott Pelley didn't need, 60 Minutes needed Scott Pelley more than Scott Pelley needed 60 Minutes. Scott Pelley didn't need 60 Minutes at all. And it wasn't a matter of opinion being different. Scott Pelley's asserting in his public statements that they asked me to put false information into a news report. You don't make a
That's his assessment.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you've got a company like CBS and a couple of guys like the Ellisons who own Paramount and Skydance, you don't make that accusation without knowing you got the goods. I mean, if Scott Pelley comes out and says my network news agency, my network news program was asking me to willfully and purposefully misinform the public, to put misinformation as fact into a newscast, if he makes that statement, if you make that statement falsely, if you falsely accuse and slander CBS, 60 Minutes, and that corporation, they're coming at you for everything. You won't have anything left in your life. So it's not about opinion. It's about they're asking me to lie. The network franchise that is 60 Minutes has stood for something. I don't need to be a part of that anymore. And I'll take my very public 51 Emmy-winning persona, and instead of just quitting privately, I'm going to throw a grenade into the room. I'm going to blow the meeting up, and I'm going uber public. Scott Pelley did not need 60 Minutes, and he definitely didn't want to be a part of something he felt had betrayed the integrity of that broadcast legacy of over 50 years.
I completely hear what you're saying, but let me present this alternative, I think Scott Pelley probably was seizing an opportunity. There's a lot of people with a different perspective, Spike, to the tune of millions of people that thinks 60 Minutes has had a certain bent in terms of political philosophy for decades and decades and decades. That didn't agree with the way Scott Pelley presented the news or his segments or the way he would sort of lightly question some people, then go after other people based on ideology. And so it's another fascinating conversation because I don't think anyone anywhere, whether you're an anchor or an opinion writer, can fully separate your motivated reasoning or cognitive preconceived biases from anything you're doing. I mean, really, I like to think that I call balls and strikes. No, I'm sorry. I'm a 43-year-old man that has a host of life experiences and opinions that's and valid. Formations of truth that I've come to over years and years' time. So anyone who's like, I just call balls and strikes, I call BS on those people right away. And so what I'm saying is 60 Minutes, I believe, has had a certain political bent for a long time, and Barry Weiss is coming in there and saying, no, we don't have that bent anymore. And people like Scott Pelley that have gotten so used to it, like a frog in the kettle where the heat is slowly being turned up, say, whoa, this is such a departure from where we've been for decades and decades. I'll take this self-righteous stand because I was on the side of truth and righteousness and decency. Some people would look at his career, and I've seen the clips circulating online, I've seen the segments circulating online, and make a judgment. No, you are on the side of a certain political philosophy, and now that's being challenged, and you don't like that because you thought that your certain way of doing things was the true and right way.
Is there anything to his accusations that they're being asked to portray news in a light that only favors this administration and unflattering coverage of this administration will not be tolerated?
I've seen the Barry Weiss statement that differs from that. So then it's more, who do you trust at the end of the day? And it'll be some people think Barry Weiss is telling the truth more, and some people will side more with Scott Pelley.
Fair enough. All right. Great job.
At the end of the day, it's a business decision, too. They're trying to make money. Let's not separate that from this equation.
The problem is the government can decide who does business, which is a factor, I think, an element of this story, which should not be or could not be, if you can't overlook. They want the Trump administration to approve a merger in their company. They're not going to take off the Trump administration. That's the kind of government pressure that we can't have in journalism. I think that's the underlying root of the problem here. Coming up next, your kid, their phone, their school, a match made far below heaven. We'll have the details when we come back.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Jazz Alley invites you to experience the Brubeck Brothers Quartet, carrying forward a legendary jazz legacy with fresh energy and swing. Shows run June 2nd and 3rd. Tickets at jazzalley.com. Next up, Marcus Miller.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson is standing firm on her directive to keep those surveillance cameras off in the stadium district during the World Cup, unless there's a credible threat.
We're kind of balancing competing priorities here, right? Concerns around data security and potential abuse of data versus the utility of the cameras in solving crime.
Wilson was speaking at a City Club event, saying the cameras may be activated after further study. Members of the Seattle City Council object. They say the council has already passed measures approving those cameras. High-speed rollover crash on Highway 18 this morning killed 2 people in Federal Way. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin reports a trooper clocked that car at 130 miles per hour speeding along Highway 167.
Washington State Trooper Rick Johnson says 4 people were inside the sedan.
The 2 that were ejected, I believe, are the ones that are at the hospital. From what I understand, is there's 2 deceased inside the vehicle.
He tells us the car went into a roll before the guardrail punctured through and smashed into the pole. Johnson says because of the trooper's involvement, Federal Way police are handling this scene.
A small drop in gas prices for now.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed for the 94th day. One Exxon executive warns crude oil could spike to $160 a barrel. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells Seattle's Morning News it's hard to predict.
A lot of people, trying to hit a dartboard from miles away. I mean, he could be right. There's a growing sense of alarm.
The national average of a gallon of regular gas is down about 19 cents over the past week to $4.20 a gallon. Washington's average dropped about 6 cents to $5.66. DeHaan warns if crude hits $160, Washington drivers could be paying as much as $6.50 a gallon. Manda Factor, KIRO News Radio.
Philanthropist Melinda French Gates is pledging $215 million to support contraceptive access and maternal care, as well as initiatives aimed at middle-aged women, including further study of menopause. The new funding announced today pushes French Gates' donations for women's health over $600 million in the past 2 years. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:33. We check in with Nate Connors.
All right, Aaron, Seattle Sports has the update. Let's start in Poulsbo. Traffic is now stopped in both directions of State Route 3 at Pioneer Way, where we have a long-term collision. Usually when they block the entire roadway like this, it means they're hooking up the cars to tow trucks this late in the accident scene. So this should be all clear shortly. Meanwhile, you've got about 2-mile bumper-to-bumper backups. Seattle to Everett, 45 minutes. Bellevue to Everett also at 45 minutes. I-5 looking pretty good. You're going to jam up at the Linwood interchange up to 164th. And 405 is heavy between Canyon Park and that Alderwood interchange. Once you get into Everett, North 5, we're filling in between 526 and Highway 2. Eastbound 526 still slow from the Boeing plant over to I-5. Here in Seattle, no big surprises. North 5 scattered backups from the Michigan curve to the Ship Canal. South 5 are going to jam up approaching the Ship Canal Bridge down to I-90. And down towards South Hill and Puyallup, westbound 512 is bumper to bumper heading into the South Hill curve over to Canyon Road. And then eastbound 512 is heavy from Portland Avenue to Canyon Road. It looks like we may have some sort of blocking issue on Canyon Road. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial on 97.3 HD2. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Increasing sun breaks for this afternoon. Tomorrow, though, we do have a weather system rolling through. Should see some widespread rain. Right now, 63 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, Greg Thomas, sitting in for Jake Skorheim today. We've all become painfully aware of social media's impact on our lives and our children's lives, of cell phones' impact on our children's lives. I know the wrestling of parents and children over when kids can have a phone, how much access they have to the internet. The use of phones in schools comes into play. Recently, the large social media platforms were in court cases, have been in court cases, to litigate their responsibility for self-harm among teens, bullying among teens, suicide among teens. It was uncovered in the disclosures of these cases, particularly involving Meta, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Documents released in these lawsuits, there was one in LA that was recently settled. 1,400 school districts have filed lawsuits against these major social media platforms. Part of the discovery in this are internal documents from Meta, from Snapchat, from Instagram, talking about not just their awareness of the effect their products and their platforms have on school kids and their kids, teenagers, their mental health, their school performance. but not only were they aware, but they were actually working aggressively to recruit teenagers. Meta paid teen ambassadors to promote Instagram and to hand out swag at schools. Snapchat referred to school hours as under the desk time, as they encouraged students to share images from school during class. They refused to shut off messaging services during school hours, one of the proposals put forth by school districts and families to keep kids focused on school and safe from the bullying and harmful aspects of social media and phone use for students. So these documents being released to the public, part of this disclosure from these lawsuits, I think it's so helpful to parents, and it should be so, I don't want to say formative, but it should be a guiding element of how these networks are allowed to interact with our families. I mean, I'm all about free enterprise, but there are restrictions and regulations on products for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make breakfast cereal out of just whatever you want to. It's got to be healthy. It's got to be safe. I think the same can be said on social media networks and the internet and its access to our kids and our kids' access to it. It's got a more dangerous and harmful potential than any food or drug or med we put in our body.
For parents of toddlers, children, teenagers, high schoolers, the statute of limitations on claiming ignorance and naivete about the effects of social media and smartphones on your prodigy, I think was 10 years. I think it was 2009 to 2019. We can no longer collectively claim ignorance when it comes to this stuff. It's devious. It's led to cognitive decline in Gen Z, Gen Alpha. It's heartbreaking for me to see as a parent, my prime years of parenting, which are right now. I feel ashamed that our generation of parents has sort of fumbled the football on this, and we've hurt our kids. When I see kids out there today that are glued to their phones at school, out and about in the community, I don't blame them. I blame my generation of parents.
Really?
And you can say like, oh, we don't have any guidebook for this. We don't. We know now. We the time for excuses is over. If you're handing a 14-year-old in your house a smartphone with no restrictions and access to social media, it's worse than giving them a pack of cigarettes.
Absolutely.
I'm convinced of that, Spike. We should be shouting this from the rooftops. It's deleterious to them now and into the future. Their brains aren't even done developing yet. And it makes me sick. I was at a graduation ceremony a week ago, and in front of me was looked like an 8-year-old boy. During the graduation ceremony, which lasted an hour and a half, 2 hours. It wasn't one of those like we're going to read 20,000 names. It's going to be 6 hours. The boy right in front of us, small child, had on headphones and was scrolling TikTok. It didn't look like it had any restrictions on it. And he had like popcorn in his bag. So, and the parents were sitting right next to him. And I get it. I get the impulse. And the impulse is, this is going to be really hard to make my 8-year-old sit still for 2 hours. You're right.
Yeah.
You are dead on. And you know what? That doesn't absolve you of the responsibility of having your 8-year-old do that. It is a life skill to sit with boredom for a little bit, to sit in respect. And you learn it at those tender ages. And you expect more from the kid. And more often than not, they will deliver for you. If you're reaching for that phone, you're saying, well, a pack of cigarettes will suffice to keep them entertained for a little bit. In the meantime, you're doing untold damage to their brain formation and the way they relate to the world. You're giving them social anxiety. You're putting them on the road to suicidal ideation and to being a recluse. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've read about it. The research is in, and it makes me sick that we aren't taking swifter action on this stuff at the city level, the state level, at the federal level, and so on and so forth. I guess it starts, though, in each and every person's home. You've got to get on this as a parent. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going on. I'm passionate about this because I have 3 kids.
You've got it, and your oldest is the prime age, right?
15-year-old girl.
Oh,
yep,
my God.
most susceptible
to this. So this is a part of your, not just your daily life. This is a part of your most important job ever as a father, as a parent.
I think it's my number one duty, actually.
I couldn't agree more.
Besides faith, maybe my religion.
That's what gives you the basis for the job you do as a parent, I would say.
Yes. My faith informs everything I do as a father, and this is a part of it.
My first thought was with the kid, the 8-year-old example at the graduation ceremony, my first thought isn't, make him stop and pay attention. and make them learn to sit still for an hour and a half. My first thought was, okay, I understand the need to pacify this kid's asking a kid to sit for an hour and a half, an 8-year-old, it's tough, and it's detrimental to everybody's experience. And this is a parent.
If they're unruly, yeah.
So, give them a movie to watch. The fact, seriously, if you're
that would be better.
If you're going to pacify them, make it a safe pacification. Don't make it open, unbridled TikTok. God knows what's coming into their hand and their mind for an hour and a half. That's you mentioned that this is a parent's responsibility, and you're not wrong. But I have a problem when these social media companies and networks and platforms, they say, look, it's on the schools, it's on the parents, it's not on us. Tobacco companies was a great example you make. They're not allowed to put addictive chemicals in the cigarettes anymore.
Right.
They're not allowed to sell to minors. There are restrictions on those companies. To not have restrictions on these social media companies seems ridiculous. One of the lawsuits that was settled, a local school district was suing Meta for like $60 million and $9 million in damages. Meta settled for about half of both those numbers because they knew they didn't have a leg to stand on when it came time to go into court and putting the facts in front of a jury. They would lose, so they settled. They know they've got liability. They know they're at fault. In a lot of these cases, you cannot have this type of intrusive element into life itself, into our society itself, without some kind of regulation.
Could not agree more. There has to be harsher consequences on these tech companies that knowingly have addicted generations of kids to their detriment.
When they use the same models for engagement and addiction that casinos use for slot machines to program your social media algorithms.
But in the meantime, in order not to feel helpless until that day comes, you can take agency within your own home and your own domain to make those changes at the immediate parental level yourself.
It takes a
while
village.
we hope that the accountability comes for the tech company.
It takes a village, not a game on how to build a village to raise a kid.
Said.
Thank you very much. When we come back, we'll have all your texts. We appreciate you guys. The Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. Spike O'Neill, that's Greg Tom. We'll be right back.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Step inside and let the excitement take you places. This is Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the ultimate spot for action that reaches incredible heights, luxury that knows no bounds, and live entertainment that always thrills. It's all at one incredible destination. So when you look for the best, look nowhere else. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest. Muckleshoot.
Hey, it's G. Scott. Let's talk real for a sec. Summer is supposed to be about sunshine and kids having fun. But when the kids are home all day, that grocery bill, yeah, it grow fast. That's why I want you to know about Sunbucks and why our friends at Safeway are helping get the word out. If your family qualifies, you can receive $120 per child to spend on groceries this summer, food in your cart, and a little less pressure on that budget. And let me be clear about this. There's no catch, no judgment. This program is simply about making sure kids have enough to eat when school is out. Here's the important part. Many families are enrolled automatically, and a card may already be headed to your mailbox. But some families do need to apply depending on income and where you live. So take a couple minutes and check. Visit freesummermeals.org. That's freesummermeals.org. Safeway, looking out for your family this summer. Once again, that's freesummermeals.org.
Are you a homeowner, 62 or older, and realize that your Social Security and other income may not carry you through your retirement years? Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at Tila Mortgage, a local company serving Washington residents for 30 years. And if you want to know how a reverse mortgage works or have questions like, are reverse mortgages safe? Will I still own my home? Or do I really have the option of not making monthly mortgage payments? Call Tila for a no-pressure conversation. They'll answer your questions with personalized recommendations and loan options that can safely help you improve your monthly cash flow, increase your available income, pay off debt, or make home improvements. Call Tila today. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better, live stronger. Start now.
Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
Every day, caregivers change lives. Caregiving offers flexibility and the chance to make a real difference in your community. It's not just caring work, it's hard work. The kind of work that calls for empathy, patience, problem solving, reliability, and both physical and mental strength. It may be the hardest job you'll ever love. Right now, Washington faces a caregiver shortage, and your skills and your heart are needed more than ever. Visit caregivercareerswa.com for resources and support to start or return to your caregiving career.
Sponsored by DSHS and aired by the WSAB and this station.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, Greg Tomlin. Great job today, buddy. I love having conversations with you.
Thank you, Spike.
You're thoughtful,
Likewise.
you're well-read.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah. As compared to me.
My witty references.
Repartee. Yeah, you're the best. Laura, if we could start us off with our text. We appreciate you guys taking part in the show today. We always welcome you to do so. Let's get us started.
Yeah, on the World Cup, just, a few short weeks, days.
No.
We're
inside
Are we
of a
down to
week.
days? Are we counting days?
We're inside of 2 weeks.
It's like a week and a half, yeah.
The
Okay.
official World Cup starts today, but not in Seattle. Our first game is
It's
on the
already
15th.
started in my heart, but go ahead, Laura.
James in Issaquah was saying, I was thinking about going to my first World Cup match, but I lost my enthusiasm once FIFA gave Trump the FIFA Peace Prize.
It's hard to keep up with how many prizes he
Prizes
gets
he's got,
on
yeah.
a weekly and monthly
Hey, man,
basis.
That's how you deal with this president is you flatter him. You realize what's important to him. You can't blame FIFA for working the program. I mean, you play the game you're sitting at, right? You play the game the table you're sitting at. Paul says, and look at the way our president treats others in other countries. Why would people want to come here? There is a genuine sense that America's attendance at World Cup will be impacted by how this administration treats other countries and treats visitors to this country.
Steve on Mercer Island chimes in. The math is easy. There are 6 games. The stadium in Seattle can hold, let's say, 70,000. That's 420,000. Nowhere near the numbers you're talking about. Get a grip on the facts.
Well, the FIFA,
What is he talking about?
The FIFA organizing committee estimated that 750,000 visitors would visit Seattle to attend World Cup games. Now they're counting on folks who come to town, but not everybody gets to go to a game.
They just want to be close to the game?
They want to be visiting Seattle, yeah. If there are watch parties, which there are scheduled watch parties all around the community, around the stadium, all over town, they expect 750,000 people to have come to Seattle. But again, that's a $900 million financial benefit to the city, the 750,000 visitors, were initial pie-in-the-sky projections, and we don't think the numbers are anywhere near to that kind of reality.
On crime in Seattle, 360 says petty theft is only petty until it happens to you.
Is that McGruff the crime dog in the 360?
Well done. Hey, we didn't say, we weren't, petty crime still sucks. You're right, man. When it happens to you, it matters.
On the subject of Airbnb, Michael in Bothell writes, Airbnb and other companies like them are so worth it, guys. When we travel, we always rent a house over a hotel. It's just a little bit more with way more space. We can buy groceries and make our food without having to spend a ton of money on restaurants.
Mentioned that earlier. We had the best Airbnb experience we had was in, I swear, my sister-in-law was retiring. My father-in-law, I should say, was with us. We had 3 families in a 5-bedroom home in Kona, on the main island of Hawaii, with an outdoor kitchen and a built-in pool. It was the most incredible experience because we had all 3 families in one house.
But unbeknownst to you, Joe Voyer was videotaping the whole thing through the little soap dispenser in the bathroom, and he's been watching you ever since, Spike.
Hey, man, never deny another man his freak. You know what I'm saying to you?
206 said cameras are technically illegal in home share situations, so...
Technically,
but how do you find them? How do you... you don't have authorities knocking on the door looking for the cameras.
Doing inspection reports, yeah.
It's usually people that rent the place that find them and then report them to authorities, but that doesn't happen every time.
That's true. And they also said our last renters destroyed our hot tub. The water was green when they left, needed a full drain clean and new filter, cost $600. A house rental is not the same as a hotel motel. Good and bad.
Maybe it was just some green dye they put in there for
Let's hope.
Effect. Probably not, though.
On those secret closets at Airbnbs, Todd Burian says, my niece is using her condo as an Airbnb for the FIFA World Cup, and she has a closet in her master bedroom with a secure lock where she keeps all her personal stuff in there.
And camera equipment. Laura goes to jury duty on that topic. Justin in Tacoma writes, they are a lot more strict with people getting out of jury duty these days. Oh, I didn't know that.
Rachel says, OMG, I almost would have gotten to meet you yesterday, Laura. I got summoned twice for jury duty to show up in Seattle, but got out of both through the 2 questionnaires.
Rachel, tell us what kind of answers you gave that got you out of jury duty.
She texted back and said she thinks she got out of the same trial that your wife is currently still on a Zoom call doing voir dire for.
Do you think this would be smart if you're trying to get out of jury duty? Just write back in the little note that you get in the mail. I can tell someone's guilty just by looking at him.
Yeah, if he's in court, he must be guilty. Why else would he be in court? You're right. The truly unpleasant Mrs. O'Neill, I just checked her. I said, how did it go? She's still on this call. A 2-hour Zoom voir dire with the potential prosecuting and defense attorneys to see if she's going to be qualified to sit on this jury with a trial they say could take a month. A month.
Ours was limited to 30 minutes for each, both the prosecution and then the defense. So an hour total.
Yeah, I object.
Ron says, I was just on a jury pool of 94 people for a double murder in Tacoma. Wow. I wasn't selected, but it was getting pretty interesting going through the selection process. But they only paid us $10 a day plus mileage for Pierce County. Or you said you got 25.
25. I made $50. I spent half of it on lunch the first day. Second day, I brought a sandwich.
Bill and Lake Stevens, just throw it away when it comes in the mail. There's no one following up. Also, there is no way to prove you received it in the mail. I'm 53, probably thrown away 3 or 4 in my life. The government is so understaffed, so unorganized. There is absolutely no risk to tossing it. Let me say that the opinions espoused on the text line in no way represent the opinions of the hosts
it's
or
funny.
producers.
People are like, and I myself is, how do I get out of it? How do I get out of it? Laura had a great experience serving on a jury. I was seated one time but didn't get to sit on a jury. I would love to sit on a jury. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. If you ever get a chance to do it, by all means, folks.
I salute you.
Don't deny you got the notice at all. Listen, we're done. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you very much, Laura. John Curley's off today, so I will be here for another 3 hours. I'm sorry. Mike Lewis